welcome, oh, yeah. welcome back. Oh, the scene switches. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the PiGosaur Monday number 9. I'm of course Show's Live VIP with me. I'm joined by these amazing players, the people in the chat, and by my plushies as well. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys should have a look at the bracket yourselves, as the bracket is live, the bracket is stacked, and we have our first series of the night. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the Polish Zerg player, the pink Zerg, the biggest Basilisk fan in the world. It is Pi. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the American Terran player. I mean, usually he's Protoss, but it's the Terran patch, so it's Terran time. From the Americas, it is Estrella. Here we go, and if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. Get your predictions going, get your gamma going, as predictions are open in the chat. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck. As we have Estrella playing his new main race, Kappa, and of course Pi, who just came back from Home Story Cup. If you don't know, or if you are not familiar with Pi, he's a very, very passionate fan of StarCraft, biggest Basilisk fan out there, of course. But on top of that, Pi was also observing. He was the official observer, or one of the two observers, at Home Story Cup. It was Pi and Eon Blue. They were both observing. They were both, giving their services to Take TV to Home Story Cup. Is also much love here to Pi and to Eon Blue as well. Pi just recently returning to Poland, recently returning from Krefeld, and is apparently passing out. He's holding it together, Papi. Let's go. I mean, it was a long weekend. It was a very long weekend, and did put a lot of work and effort in, and now he's still competing, still playing. The passion is real. So much love to Pi. Much love. As we are going to be settling in, as we settle into our next game, also a big shout out to Tater Tutor. Thank you so much for gifting us up to Scorpion SC3 in the chat. Oh my god, that's StarCraft 3 confirmed? Maybe. I'm also clearly still recovering as well. Again, it was a very intense weekend of StarCraft. Of course, we were live every single day. We were the B stream, the official B stream of Home Story Cup for day 1, day 2, and day 3. So we had a lot of casting, a lot of hours logged over the course of the weekend. And now we are back to our regularly scheduled programming, back into the Open Cups. PiGosaur Monday, Sparkling Tuna Cups, National Tussle, Wardy TV Monday, etc., etc. Of course, a bit of a PSA as the first Reaper gets across the map. Does dance with the Lings, gets 1, gets 2 Lings already. Good value here by Estrella. Ideally, he wants a worker as well. Does threaten the mineral line, but Pi does pull away in time, does save the spore. He is safe and sound. So far, so good. Whew. Pi does defend. What was I getting at? Oh yeah, we have our regular events. A bit of a PSA, of course, is this weekend is another major event. We just had Home Story Cup, and the big events continue as Masters Coliseum qualifiers are this weekend. Ooh, the third base is going to be denied. The gas guys is denied. 1 drone goes down. Big delay in the third. And Estrella, he's already popping off early on with the first Reaper. He got 2 Lings, now getting a third, a 4th Ling, 1 drone, delayed third base. A lot of value so far here, some insane value with that first Reaper, and Pi is stuck on 2 bases. Third base now being taken at the triangular location, late third base. It's a little bit more exposed, but at least it gets up and running. It could be worse, right? Pi could be stuck on 2 bases. Thankfully, takes the third. Meanwhile, the Reaper isn't done. Estrella still having fun here with this first unit of choice, dipping behind the mineral line here, going for the workers as best he can. Oh, we'll threaten the drones. And oh no! The queen does trap one of the drones in. Another drone goes down. The Reaper finally is forced out by the queens, but alas, so much value, so much damage. Meanwhile, interesting. Pi did delay his gas income here. I'm curious if he plans on skipping a Ling speed or going into roaches, for example. Speaking of, yep, roach warren. That's why this is what I assumed. Again, gases were delayed for Pi for good reason. The reason was no Ling speed, roaches. So it's going to be roach aggression here out of Pi. Now we could commit into an all-in, or this could just be a safety roach warren to get into the mid game, to max out, to get into a later kind of game state here. We'll see if Pi does cut workers. Meanwhile, across the map, Estrella getting to his own build, third TC into Starport. No add-on swap though. Interesting. So 3cc, not Banshee, 3cc into Liberator. With this, that means a much faster stim, much faster bio production here from Estrella. Is going for a more bio-heavy follow-up here from the side of our... Oh. from a Terran player. Never mind. Add-on swap with the tech lab on the factory. That I was not expecting. Oh, Lings flood in. Lings do flood into the main base. SCVs are going down. 1, 2 SCVs already going to be falling. A full scout of the main as well. And this is a big sign of what's to come as never mind. Okay, there we go. Is a big sign of things to come as we're getting to early tank production. But again, this is just a really interesting build out of Astray because he is delaying his own stim by quite a bit. As a result, sure, he'll have early tank production, but he's going to be stuck at home. Going to be stuck at home with his main army, I should say, his helis. They get across the map. They do wreak havoc. They get 4 more drone kills. 4 more workers falling. Just catching up. You rocked it like, oh, thank you, Tater. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm still pretty tired from the weekend, not gonna lie. I'm very much so tired, so I'm still recovering. As that's going to be a drone. Oh my god, 8 workers going down. Australia, calm down, Bathy. Again, just wreaking havoc, roasting up a mineral line, backing off and getting ready for that next step, getting ready for that eventual bio push. Again, as we mentioned, it is delayed because of the delayed tech lab on the racks, delayed stim here. So Australia, he's going to be massing up his army back at home, but he's still being active with the Hellions at least. And the Hellions are doing quite a bit of damage. Pi back at home did make a few roaches here. He's trying to secure himself on his 3 bases. Is now re-droning, but he needs a 4th base. He has a lot of catching up to do. It's been a rough start here for Pi, but I want to believe that it's not impossible to bounce back. But what I was getting at earlier here, Massive Coliseum is over the weekend. I should say the qualifiers are over the weekend. The European qualifier, the North American qualifier, the Korean and Asian qualifier as well. There's like 4 or 5 qualifiers over the weekend for the main event. If you are maybe unfamiliar with what Massive Coliseum is, one, I mean, have you not been watching CranKy Ducklings? Have you not been watching WTL? But Masters Coliseum is a tournament organized by SC Boy. Those are the people behind World Team League, WTL. So if you've been watching WTL over the past couple of years, you would know that Masters Coliseum is usually an end of season event. Basically, usually after WTL ends, the top players performing in WTL get invited into Masters Coliseum. Oh, as Hellies, they do once again get into the middle line. 5 more drones go down. Oh, this is really stacking up. And the problem here is that Pi, he's forced to rebuild all these workers instead of focusing on his army and focusing on his upgrades. Speaking of, upgrades are delayed. Again, Eva Chamber, no +1 yet. Astray, he's building up. And we spoke earlier about how Astray, he did delay his upgrades. He did delay his stim. Stim is soon going to finish. And he's going to be moving at it around the 8 to 9 minute mark, and it's going to hit like a truck. And again, Pi is just not ready for it. He's lost too many workers over the course of this game. He is getting into Roach Hydra, a very old school kind of Heart of the Swarm composition. I mean, we do see it from time to time nowadays. I think most recently, most prevalently, Dark. Dark does embrace Roach Hydra, did embrace it in ZVT last season, especially on maps like Dynasty. We saw a lot of Roach Hydra out of Dark, but that was last season, and I mean, here comes Australia. Australia is pushing forward. Tanks are sieging up. Creep is being denied. Australia's army is revealed, and Pi, can he hold on? He's going to have how much? He's going to have a handful of Ravagers, a handful of Hydras, mainly Roach-based army. 0-0 upgrades. That's my biggest concern as well, is just how well they can really shape up to this Bioforce. Even without the tank support, this move out is looking terrifying. As Australia, he does stim in, and he will take down the base. Now, really patient play out of Pi. Does pull away, does give up on the expansion. Comes over behind, gets one tank goes down. And it looks like Pi, he will be able to clean up some of these Marines, but for the most part, Astray, he holds his own. Yeah, he shuts down the army, shuts down the Roaches, the Hydras, the Ravagers as well. Keeps rallying, takes down the expansion, and from here he can just snowball out of control. GG, goddamn true! Goddamn Cyclones. As Australia will take game number 1. GG. As we were getting into this game, we were joking a little bit how Astray is playing Terran because it is the Terran patch confirmed. So Astray, he has to play Terran now, 100%. He has because of the new Cyclone as well. Copium. For those that are curious, I should also clear this up before, at the start of the tournament, and I'll probably say this a couple of times throughout the event. Just like with Home Story Cup, we are playing with a mod, so the Cyclone is not actually impacting this tournament negatively. It is patched. Oh. It is patched here. At least it is modded out, I should emphasize. Is modded out, so there's no, insane range for those Cyclones. Likewise, the Oracle has been adapted as well. For those that are curious, in the live version of the game, both the Cyclone and the Oracle, they don't necessarily have the correct specs, the correct details to them, so they have since been fixed for the mod. That means that for Home Story Cup, that wasn't really, again, they were rectified for Home Story Cup and for all events coming forward here, as all these open cups can use the mod as well and will use the mod. So it's one of those things where currently the Cyclone is plaguing the ladder, not tournaments. Just as a heads up. It's like we should have a disclaimer for the event. It's like, you know, events seen here are not reflected of the ladder. Like, if you want to hit the ladder, like the Cyclones, they're gonna have their way with you, Pat. Ay. Be careful out there, be careful. But here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neon Violet Square, we have the pink Zerg player from the land of Poland. Again, he just came back from Krefeld. He was the Home Story Cup observer, and now he's rocking up and he's here playing. The passion is real. It is Pi. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player representing himself from the Americas. I mean, he used to be Protoss, now he is Terran, at least for this series. It is Estrella. Let's go. But getting back into it, so yeah, so Masters Coliseum, it's usually an event held at the end of the season of WTL, but for those that have not been tuning into the podcast, you may not be familiar, we did, I mean, it was announced recently, and we did go over it, the fact that WTL is on hiatus. It is on an indefinite hiatus moving forward, so there's no World Team League, there's no WTL, but at least there is still a Masters Coliseum. Instead, I think there's going to be a lot more weight on the qualifiers, because usually there are invites based on WTL performances, and now there's no WTL, but Masters Coliseum will still take place nonetheless. It is going to be a 2-month event throughout the month of December and January. We have the qualifiers this weekend, and then the group stage for the next month, and then the playoffs for the month after. So there's it's a big event. it's a big, long event that we're going to be going over for the next 2 months, and that's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single weekend. So 3 days a week for the next 2 months is Masters Coliseum. Meanwhile, we can calm things down and settle in. Fun fact also, I should emphasize this, and I'll probably mention it a couple more times throughout the broadcast, because Masters Coliseum is going to be every weekend for the next 2 months, we will be rescheduling Sparkling Tuna Cup. Sparkling Tuna Cup is usually on Sundays, or Saturday, depending on where you are in the world, but usually on Sundays, but because of Masters Coliseum, we will be rescheduling, and this week, because of that, Sparkling Tuna Cup is on Wednesday, not on the weekend, and it's going to be on Wednesday for the next 2 months as well, at least until Masters Coliseum wraps up. So we are moving Sparkling Tuna. The tuna is being moved. Just a PSA. And again, I'll probably mention it a couple more times, just so everyone knows. But because of that, we will be having an event on Wednesday instead. On Wednesdays. But now though, calming things down. Estrella back at home going 3 CC before Starport. Once again, economic opener out of Estrella. First repickers across the map will pose a threat to the natural, but welcome one and all to Neon Violet Square. Welcome to a very old map in the map pool. This map was in rotation back in 2017, so it's been over 7 years, actually. Over 7 years since it has been in the map pool, so it's been a very, very long time. Some of the big features, of course, is the pocket base. So even though Estrella is being really annoying here and is containing Pi, Pi is able to freely take a third this time. This time he is undisturbed and is able to expand. So we have the pocket base being taken. Meanwhile, we also have the pachinko machine. We have the squares here in the center of the map. These will actually be a bit of a barrier for certain size units. For example, tanks. Tanks cannot move through this. Thors can't move through this. Ultras can't move through this. I am uncertain about Archons. I'm not uncertain if an Archon can or cannot pass through these squares. So that I'm a little bit less certain about, but depending on the size of the unit, they actually cannot pass through this, so it can make engaging out in the center of the map a little bit awkward at times. It can also impact reinforcements or impact retreating as well. If you're trying to retreat, if you're trying to escape, and if you happen to have some tanks or some larger units here on one side, then they're going to be left behind as well. So bear that in mind. Have already seen that over the course of the weekend at Home Story Cup. So a fun, nice little feature here in Neon Violet Square. Meanwhile, Pi going into early lair, very early lair, early gases as well. Are we feeling mutas? Are we feeling Aspire? We need a little bit more gas, getting up to 200, and show us that Spire. Huh. What's it going to be? Show us what you got. Hellions threatening a dive. And where is the tech of choice? Where's the Spire? Show us the Mutas. I mean, the other option could be an Infestation Pit or even a Hydra, but there it is. Spire gets thrown down in the main. As we did mention early there, this was a 4-minute lair timing, early gases, and early Spire as a result. So 2 base Muta at a Pi. In a way, 2 base Muta. The 3rd base has yet to be saturated. And Astray's in the dark. Astray, it's going to be on our Terran player here to figure out what the hell is going on. I think they can pass through because there was the buff where they can pass through Tide of Pass. Yeah, I can't quite recall, specifically for the Archon, I can't quite recall. But, you know, I'm sure we'll find that out as we cast more games on Neo Violet Square. We'll get confirmation. As we do have Astray moving out with a double drop on the right hand side. As opposed to the previous game, Stim is already done. If you recall, in the last game, Stim was delayed in favor of tank production. This time, Stim is prioritized, and as a result, Astray has a multi-force. He's going into multi-ring aggression. Hellions, they distract the Lings, and it comes a drop into the main, and Pi otherwise is distracted. He's not ready for this. Is not ready. Astray ready for the dive. Stim is done. Mutas are on the way, but the mineral line is exposed. And he's in the Queen. Queen goes down. Bust on in. Scouts the Spire as well. Massive moment here for Astray. The drones. Oh! The drones is the way out. 15, 16, 17 workers go down. The Queen and even the Spire itself. TTGG gets called, and Astray will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the round of 16. GG. I wanted to see the Mutas. GG, well played. Congratulations, Astray. He does pop off. He does catch a Pi with his pants down. My condolences to Pi, but I do appreciate the diversity in builds here. Game 1 going into Roach Hydra, Game 2 going into Fast Mutas. And again, I do think the build itself was well founded. Like, again, I can see Mutas working quite well on Neon Violet Square. I do see pro players looking to go into that as well in that map, similar to how they would do so on Dynasty or even on some of these, or Amphion, some of these other maps where you can be safer and more secure in 3 bases. I think the build makes sense. Unfortunately, Pi just wasn't ready in the main base. He wasn't aware of the drop reinforced, or the drop headed towards the main either. Pi was just in the dark as to what was happening, and yeah, was unprepared. GG. GG, well played. With that, Astray will take the series, and we are now getting ready for the round of 16, potentially. I mean, let's find out. Let's find out where we are and where we are headed. Exclamation mark and be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back yourselves. Let us head on over. Whew, let's go. As we switch our scenes over from the top, we have some updates here, and it looks like we're getting ready for our next series. Let me just quickly message some players. Just slipping into those DMs, and we can go over the bracket itself. Okay, from the top, actually, let's zoom in a little bit. We can do that, right? Beautiful. So from the top, we have herO. herO is waiting for the winner of Bomyolja and J Money, as it looks like the initial round is still ongoing. herO is waiting in the upper half of the bracket. Scrolling down, we have Geralt. Geralt takes down Keitho 2-0. We have Wayne takes down Milo 2-0. And in that round 16, we have Geralt versus Wayne. Honestly, that's a very spicy, very juicy series. Do wish them both the best of luck. If I could, I would be all over that, but I believe they have already begun their match, and we are focusing our attention elsewhere in the lower half of the bracket, as vetoes are underway, and we're getting things ready. Scrolling down, we have Mute. Mute versus Neuro is a mid-series. Winner goes up against Trap in the next round. Best of luck to Neuro, Mute, and to Neuro and Mute as they get into their series versus Trap. Scrolling down, we have Zaun. Zaun waiting for the winner of Rebellion and Zerg Tannis. Best of luck in the chat. A lot of Protoss, I don't know if you noticed, but we have herO, Trap, Zaun, Mute, Geralt. We have a wall of Protoss up here, and we have Wayne, the lone Zerg player, to try to have some diversity in the tournament in the upper half of the bracket. Otherwise, we should be seeing PvP semifinals, to be honest. Like, that's that. I mean, it's almost pure Protoss up there. So best of luck to Wayne. Best of luck, as he's one Zerg surrounded by almost pure Protoss. Best of luck. Scrolling down a little bit further, we do have the rest of the brackets. Okay, we have the second half. We have MaxPax. MaxPax waiting for the winner of herO and Apple Juice. I did see some people asking in the chat regarding that series, or asking if it was going to be casted. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm sure it is being casted somewhere. There are plenty of other English casters here in the tournament. Dave Testa, Steadfast, Pig, and some other language casters as well. So potentially it's being covered somewhere else, but not here, unfortunately. Not here. So best of luck to herO and Apple Juice. Scrolling down, we have Mudkip Master and DJ. DJ DPSTN. That's usually a Korean name. That might be Sue. I think Sue's name is a little bit different, but that does look like a Korean ID. So curious who that is against Mudkip Master. Best of luck. Best of luck. Scrolling down, we have, of course, MaxPax waiting for the winner of the previous series. We have Nickrak, and Nickrak takes down his opponent 2-0. Likewise, he just got an update. Rebellion takes down Zertanis 2-0 as well. Again, Rebellion was heavily favored in that series. So best of luck to Rebellion in this series against Down. Nickrak waiting for his opponent. Scrolling down towards the bottom of the bracket, we have ByuN. ByuN is waiting for the winner of Pig and Patches. I believe Pig is streaming his POV. And at the very bottom of the bracket, you can barely not see it actually. You can barely get eyes on it there. You can see Estrella 2-0's Pi, Rex 2-0 Chromoa, and up next, our series on the channel, Estrella versus Rex. So we're going to be following Estrella into Rex. Rex, of course, he is the Taiwanese Zerg player, so it's going to be a ZVP unless Estrella off races. Possible. I don't think it's wise to off race against Rex. I think Rex is good enough to contest against almost anyone out there. We've seen Rex take it to Cure. We've seen him take it to Raynor as well. Like, Rex is a beast, so Estrella should be playing his best here against Rex. But we're going to be following that series into most likely ByuN in the lower quarterfinals. Best of luck to Pig and Patches, but ByuN is going to be the heavy favorite, and this lower half of the bracket is the area that we are focused on. So Estrella into Rex, into potentially ByuN, into the lower matches and the lower semifinals. Best of luck to Nickrak, herO, Apple Juice, Mudkip Master against MaxPax. MaxPax is going to be the heavy favorite to make it to those semis. Best of luck. And again, I'm not too certain who is Mudkip Master's opponent, but that does look like a Korean player. I'm not entirely certain as to which one. We go. But yeah, actually I could even just try and check on Wikipedia. Oh, as we have our lobby, we are diving in. But I know, for example, like Bunny has his own Korean letter ID, like Sue as well. Those are the two that come to mind. So I'll let you know eventually. Otherwise, looks like we have our next series. We have our next match. And it is, in fact, going to be a ZVP. Yeah, makes sense. Does make sense. As here we go, we are settling into our second series of the night, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the blue Protoss player from the land of the Americas playing his main race. It is Estrella. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Taiwanese Zerg player, the red Zerg representing Offside Esports. It is Rex. Here we go. See, Terran in the chat, as we mentioned before, yes, these events are open to all regions, all shapes, all sizes. So just to reiterate once again, yes, if you're bronze out there, if you're bronze, doesn't matter where you are, you can sign up for this tournament, you can compete, you can take part. Yeah, open to all, as they always have been. That's why they're the open cups, they're the open weeklies. Crazy. Open means they're open. I'm shocked. It's out of this world, man. Here we go. So far, it looks like a Hatch Gas pool opener here out of Rex. Yep, standard opener out of our Zerg player. Likewise, Gate Expand out of Estrella. We're settling in. So far, everything looking as it should. But I do see crew in the chat. Check on Ligulac and DJ DSTN is Sue. Yeah, I assume so. Again, there are a couple of Korean players that do use Basically, the reason why there are random letters on challenge is because I'm pretty sure those are the corresponding Korean characters on their keyboards. So players like Sue, players like Bunny come to mind, and some of the other Korean players as well. They do their challenge IDs are an assortment of letters that again correspond to their name, just on the Korean keyboard. Just for those, bit of a fun fact for those that are unaware. So we have confirmation that's Sue. There you go. Cool to see. Again, Sue, he's not the most active of players nowadays, so it's great to see that he is competing here tonight. It is great to see. Hey, Lai, thanks for jumping into my game. Oh, always, Pi, always. Always. Good to see you. Good to see you. Again, thank you so much for all the work that you put in over the weekend. For those that are unfamiliar, Pi was one of the dedicated observers for Home Story Cup. Not just Pi, of course. Eon Blue did step in from time to time to allow Pi to actually get some food and actually, you know, get some rest and like interact and socialize and have a beer or two. So again, much love to Pi. Again, biggest Basilisk fan out there. Much love, Pi. Much love. Share my papi, share my. Get some sleep. It's like it's an awful time in Poland right now, I'm sure. Get some rest, Pi. Ay. Well earned, well deserved. And just leave it, yeah. Take care. As we are just settling into our second series. We do have our Adept threading a shade here into the main base. Likewise, we have our Take of Choice. Going to be a Stargate opener out of Estrella. Stargate into Oracle. So far, standard build, standard setup here from our Protoss player. Likewise, Rex opening up in a standard manner as well. Getting to his third base and droning up. Now, something to take note of here of Ultralove is that it is a very defendable map. What I mean by that here is that we have ramps coming into the natural, we have choke points coming into the third locations, both the third and fourth. Likewise, you can knock down these towers, you can create more debris, you can just fully wall off. Very defendable here. Because of that, we have seen some Zerg players attempt to go for these Roach Queen all-ins or German taxis on Ultralove with very mixed success. Very mixed. So I'm curious how Rex will approach this, whether he does try to end it early or embrace a longer game state. As Lings do move out, they do hit the third. And they will threaten the expansion. Meanwhile, Oracle gets across the map, does get a kill in the Spore. Very nice damage. That was, yeah, one Spore going down. Big pick-off here for Estrella. Does head towards the natural. Likewise, more Lings across the map. They do force the defensive warp in, and they force one of the Oracles back home. But the third base should be safe and sound. Does get both Adepts though. Not bad. Both Adepts go down. Rex backs off. More Lings on the way. Yeah, Rex, he's flooding Lings behind this. His goal here is to break the third base. We'll see if he can. Upon killing 2 Adepts, I mean, there's a high chance that he can try to force a cancel or try and at least get the pylon. We'll see. As Rex is committed. Actually, he's going for the all-in. I assumed it was just going to be Lings, but no, the Queens are waddling across the map as well. Also, I apologize, I forgot. Predictions are open. Predictions now open in the chats. I was a little bit distracted early on. My bad. But best of luck. This is going to be predictions for this series, not just for the game. Lings, they threaten the natural. Queens waddling in. And the shield battery is on the way, not done yet. Oracle's spending their energy. But with the energy overcharge, I mean, the Oracles have so much energy left over. I mean, that's the thing here about early game PvZ nowadays. In the new patch, in the new meta, there's just so much energy. Stage trap getting thrown down. Lings, they get caught up. Shield battery is done. And the Stalkers, can they hold their own? Backup stasis traps on the way. One Stalker goes down. Second Stalker. And with the help of these Oracles, it looks like the Lings are getting annihilated. What about the Queens? Queens are trying to waddle in, but for the most part, yeah, the SimCity's too good. The choke point is brutal. One more Stalker goes down. That's 3 Stalker kills. And Estrella holds. Estrella, he's holding on. Another shield battery finishing up. Just in time. Saves the Stalker. It barely does save it. Nice control with the Oracle as well. Another energy overcharge. Oracle just full of energy. That means the Lings, they do nothing. They should do nothing, I should say. And yeah, Estrella, he holds on, only bleeding out 4 workers. He will shut this down. And with that, Rex is in a rough position. He's down in economy, he's down in tech, he only has Lings, no Roach Warren, no Hydroden, no Lair either. It was all or nothing for Rex, and it did fail. And again, we have seen a lot of Zerg players attempt to all in on this map, and fail to do so. Like, it's... Ay, ay, ay. But something that I should be emphasizing here, of course, is the NG overcharge. Like Oracles, they're already so effective against Lings, and even more so now in the new patch. As they always have NG. Always, Bappy. It's crazy. The Lings melt, Queen's gonna be going down. And the Stalkers, they snowball out of control. They shut down the Queens. As Astrea, he goes for the dive. He gets into the mineral line, and he will get every single drone here. You see Rex attempt to surround, but the Stalkers blink. Oh, he gets one, he gets two, he gets three. Not bad. 3 Stalkers, but reinforcements, they keep arriving. GG gets called, and Astrea, he takes game number 1. GG. Astrea does take a lead here in the series. And we're getting ready for that second game. And again, something that I should emphasize, a big reason to why early game defense, especially against Ling reinforcements, are that much more powerful is because Oracles do such an amazing job at supporting an army against specifically Lings, right? Whether it's with stasis traps or whether it's with their pulsar beam, they just annihilate Ling reinforcements. This also doesn't just impact Ling Queen all-ins, but it impacts Ling Queen Nidus all-ins and Roach Ravager all-ins. Usually when you go for a Roach Ravager all-in, you reinforce with Lings, not with Roaches. So that also does impact that. So in general, these all-ins from Zerg players are weaker in the current patch. As long as, of course, the opposing player does open Stargate, does open Oracle, which is the standard way to open up. It's also one of the reasons why it's a standard way of opening up, because of how much utility Oracles have when it comes to scouting, when it comes to harassing, when it comes to defending as well. There's a reason why it's the go-to, is these Oracle openers. Very safe way to play. And with that, we're now getting into game number 2. We're going to be loading into Amygdala. Let's go. Also, I did see someone asking in the chat earlier, and yes, we were having fun talking about Astrea race changing, but we were merely having fun. As was stated earlier, Astrea, he does very often play off-race, does often play Terran or even Zerg. Very, very common thing. We've casted him many a time doing so. It's just something that he enjoys doing in the early rounds of a tournament. Yeah, we're just having fun poking at him switching to Terran. Cap. But here we go. We are getting into game 2. Let's go. As spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the American Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing himself, but again, favored to make a deep run in this tournament. Leading the series 1-0, it is Astrea. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Taiwanese Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Offside Esports. Down in this series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Rex. Here we go. Now, we were speaking about how defendable you are on Ultra Love on your 2, 3, and 4 base setup. That is true. Here on Amygdala, different story. Now, first things first, the rush distance by ground is actually longer on Amygdala, which does make sense. The reason why that makes sense is because the 3rd and 4th base on this map are more exposed. Unlike on Ultra Love, you don't have as much of a defender's advantage with a choke point or with high ground. Here, there are multiple angles of attack towards your 3rd base, likewise with your 4th base as well, likewise with the goal base, as the goal base can be abused from the other side of the wall. So in general, it is a little bit more difficult to defend these fringe bases or these 3rd base locations. It is more difficult, but it's also further away, so reinforcements take longer to arrive. At least in the early game. If the rocks get knocked down, and if when these massive debris tumors expire, different story, right? Like suddenly, it is a little bit shorter and can be more aggressive. So we'll see what approach Rex goes for. For now, Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener out of our Taiwanese Zerg player. We saw the last game he did go for a massive Lin Queen all-in. I don't expect an all-in as early this time. If he were to be aggressive, I would not be opposed to a Roach-based all-in, especially off of a 3-base economy. What I'm referring to is 66 drones, 4th hatchery just for larva, 6 gases, or even 5 gases, and just purely Roach Ravager Ling. I do think that has a lot of potential on a map like Amygdala, because it does hit a little bit later and it can hit the 3rd and 4th, but we'll see. We'll see what Rex does go for. So now Astrea, he's just getting tabs on Rex, confirming the build, confirming the opener, and confirming the saturation. So far, so good. From here, Astrea will pull away. Rex will now expand. Back at home, once again, Stargate Opener by Estrella. As we did mention, again, Stargate Openers is the reason why they're the meta, why they're so standard. They allow you to be quite flexible early on. They can scout, they can harass, they can defend. And we should be leading into a third, into a standard game. I'm curious which third base Estrella takes. It should be the triangular third, but we'll keep an eye on Estrella. We'll keep an eye on him. As Rex does attempt to scout, goes in with the Ling. Ooh, and is denied. Ling, it does go down here at the natural. Thankfully, there is the Overlord, and now Rex has to incorporate the Overlord to confirm what's going on. Ideally, Rex just wants to use the Ling, but now the Overlord has to commit. Ooh, and is going to be denied by the Stalker. Rex, I'm sure, hoping it was going to be Adept into a second Adept, but alas, Adept into Stalker. So Scout is denied. So that was a bit of a gamble from Rex. I mean, wasn't punished for it. The Overlord survives for now, but the Oracle's on the way. And the Oracle can provide high ground vision to snipe the Overlord. Speaking of, yeah, Estrella is going for it. But at least now Rex knows. Now he's aware of the Oracle. Back at home, Spore gets thrown down. There's the energy overcharge on the Oracle itself, now full of energy. Third base being taken, and now Estrella can move out. Back at home, Rex is getting ready here for the Oracle defense. We have 2 queens at the natural. We have 1 queen in the main with a Spore. Ooh, early Evo chamber. Interesting. Spore is... sorry, the Oracle is deterred. But Evo chamber tells us it should be +1 melee. And it should be a more Ling-heavy composition. Meanwhile, Estrella, I don't see a Forge. Uh-oh. That is a Twilight Council into a Gateway Explosion. This screams... I mean, okay. I was going to say this screams Glaive Adepts. To be fair, this could be Blink for an 8-gate 3-base all-in. So there's 2 viable options. Either Blink or Glaives. I'm leaning more towards Glaives, though, from Estrella. We'll see what it's going to be. So Twilight Council is now done. And Blink, not Glaives, is on the way. Okay, now this is a very safe way to play. What I'm referring to here, this Blink timing is faster than normal. Usually you would actually go for a later Twilight Council with a Forge and go with +1 and Blink. This early Twilight Council timing, as the Forge is later, this actually coincides with a Roach all-in. So if Rex were to go for a Roach all-in to hit the third base, Blink is actually done in time. Blink would be done in time to defend, and Estrella would hold. The downside of this build, though, is that the Forge is late, which means upgrades are late, which means coming into the mid-game, upgrades are going to be more delayed for Estrella than normal. So there's a bit of a give and take. On the one hand, again, if Estrella was to defend against an all-in, he'd be safe against it, but coming into a longer game, his upgrades are going to be a little bit more lackluster. And speaking of upgrades, we mentioned before, the Evo Chamber, as we mentioned, +1 melee. This should be for Ling Hydra. So Ling Hydra from Rex, not embracing and completely skipping Roaches. So all in all, I actually really like Rex's position. He does have to deal with these early Stalkers, true. And remember, Blink is finishing earlier than normal, so Estrella can afford to be aggressive like this. He's not looking to kill, he's looking to trade. Gets an Overlord. Gets an Overlord, gets a Tumor as well. Ling's forced to engage. Oracles activate their Pulsar Beam. Lings have to back off. They have to respect the Oracle. And so far, Rex is holding on. Now, I assumed it was going to be Ling Hydra, but that is a Roach Warren on the way. This, to me, feels like a safety Roach Warren, just in case Rex needs it. I would imagine he would still be going for a Hydra Den once the lair finishes. But we'll see. We'll see if he does commit into Roach production. So we'll keep an eye on his Roaches. Meanwhile, Estrella takes a 4th, getting into Charge, getting into Archons, getting into Storm. So there's going to be Charge or Archon Storm as a follow-up for Estrella. And Rex is rushing into an Infestation Bit into Hive Tech. And again, should be into Hydras as well. Yep, there it is. Hydra Den is on the way. You do see Roach Speed, and again, I do think this is just a safety precaution for Rex in case he needs to make Roaches. Ideally, though, you want to save your gas for Hydras and Lurkers. As Lings ate the 3rd, they get a couple of perps, not bad. 3 workers go down. Back at home, Rex droning up. Saturating his bases. With the completion of the Infestation Bit, he should be able to rush into a fast Hive, and that should lead into a fast Lurker Den. Or just fast Vipers. And there it is. Hive is on the way. We'll keep an eye on the production tab for that Lurker Den. Rocks are being knocked down. It's one of those things where, yes, Estrella, he's taking into Storm, and Storm is amazing against Ling, Bane, and a Hydra, but against Lurkers, less so. And that should be the direction that Rex is going in. Big shot on that one, though. As Rex is securing himself. Estrella getting his 4th base saturated, morphing into this High Templar. Changeling does confirm the production, or the composition, I should say. So Rex knows about the storm. And Rex, the hive is almost done. I don't see a lurker den. Okay, there's the Bailey nest. Curious. Like, so typically, especially when you're rushing to a hive this early, you want it lined up with the lurker den. You want it lined up so then when the hive finishes, you can start your lurker upgrades ASAP. Without it though, stage trap here on the right hand side, gets only 1 drone. Skytoss on the way, that's a fleet beacon, that's a Stargate. It does feel like Rex's tech is a little bit lacking here. I mean, sure, now he's working on Hydra upgrades and working on Adrenal, but no lurkers tells me that maybe Rex is headed in a different direction. And there it is, Ultras. Okay, he's going for the Ultra Cavern, not for lurkers. Interesting. I mean, that is kind of like an alternate solution here to the problem that is the High Templar. Either lurker or Ultra. 1 High Templar goes down. Nice pickup. That's a kill. Oh, that was a kill, not a cancel. Hatchery does go down. Suddenly, that was a little bit more worth it for Estrella. Did lose the High Templar, though. Estrella pushing on the left-hand side. And because there are no lurkers, because no lurker den, that's the biggest problem with Ultras. Ultras comes online far later. And now Rex, he has to hold on with purely Ling Hydra Roach. Like, Rex is vulnerable. Lings, they go across the map. Storm going up. But Rex is in trouble. Rex, he's in a lot of trouble here. Ultra Cavern just now finishing up, but Ultras, they take a long time to make. Storm going up, grazing the Lings. Across the map, the Roach and Ling counterattack, not really getting much done. They get Astray, he can just keep pushing. Oof. Another Storm lands. But where's the Prism? Where are the reinforcements? Astray, he's running out of steam. Nice target farming, he gets every single High Templar. Rex does snipe them, and Rex is holding on. Now, this wasn't a clean hold. This, looking at the trades here, that was 107 Lings, 18 Roaches, 6 Hydras. It was quite a big investment there. Did snipe 5 High Templar, though, so at least Rex does hold on. And now he's able to embrace Ultras. Yo, the Token Swarm Host. Let's go. Token Swarm Host on the way. Ultras are amassing. Rex does hold. Rex does survive. But Astray is embracing Skytoss, and Rex is not quite ready for this. We need a Spire, we need Corruptors. Or a bigger investment into the Hydras. Like, the problem here as well, with the composition that Rex has, because he's investing into Ultras, he's going to more melee upgrades, which means the Hydras, they're stuck on 1-1. They're going to be stuck on +1 range. And against Skytoss, I mean, Hydras aren't never, I mean, they're not the best counter to Skytoss to begin with, but now with less upgrades, it's going to be even worse. At least initially. Spire now is on the way for Rex. He's working towards Corruptor. Until then, Astray rotating on the right-hand side. Rex trying to respond. Zelts into the natural. They confirm the Ultras. And another massive warp into the main. Yeah, the Prism barely survives. Zelts, they get into the mineral line. And I do feel like Astray can push towards this bottom right-hand expansion, but he has yet to do so. He's focusing more on Harass. Catching more Queens. Massive pickups. Queens are going down. Astray now moving forward. One High Templar gets called out. So that's a lot of Ultras. And not enough Immortals. Okay, we need more Immortals. Tempest are coming in. Decent kiting, but a High Templar. Oh my god, so many High Templar go down. Ultras, they're gaining ground. And Rex is committed. He has to back off, but hey, he killed, what was that? 4 High Templar and 1 Immortal. Not bad. And Rex, he holds on to his expansion. He holds. Whew. Does hold on. Spire is now done. Rex getting into Ultra Corruptor. Speaking of, Corruptor's now on the way. It's going to take a while for the Corruptors to really find, or to really get their stride, as they are 0-0 Corruptors, but they're getting there. And Rex at least has map control. Rotating over. Ooh. Runs into the mothership. Both players are maxing out. Now, I do still favor Astrea's army composition. The biggest issue against Mass Ultra like this is you do need a higher immortal count, and Astrea is making 3 immortals at a time. I was going to say I would not be opposed to seeing a third robo. We do have a third robo, but Astrea's maxed. Astrea's maxed out. So he can't actually afford any more immortals. You could argue that Astrea could maybe refine his army. Looking at his unit tab here, he's got 7 Stalkers, 14 Zealots. Ooh, that's a lot of Zealots, actually. I mean, Zealots, they have their place to harass. But when it comes to the main army, they're going to be a little bit lackluster. More Zealots warping in. Rex is all over this. And we'll see how the armies engage. As Astrea is rotating towards the south. Does have a recall available if need be. And Rexy commits. He's going to be committing in. Where's the storm? Yeah, massive storm on the Lings. And Astrea, he rotates. He doesn't recall. There's a quick bold move by Astrea. Trying to hold on. Mothership is going to go down. There we go. We do have a partial recall. But it's a little bit too late. Yeah, High Templar falling. Archons as well. A very messy fight for Astrea. Very messy. The base is going to go down. At the same time, Rex collapsing on top of the army. Tempest do hold their own. Astrea holds. Astrea does hold on, but again, it was just a very chaotic defense. Just a really, I would say, just a really tentative recall from Astrea. It was very delayed because of that. Astrea maybe thought he could hold on without it. And because it was so late, Rex, he actually traded better than I thought he would. Not bad. They trade well. Lings, they do hit the right-hand side. Rotating towards the center. Forcing Astrea to split up. Is that the kill? That was a cancel. That was a cancel on the Nexus. But again, at least Rexy is denying bases. Building up his army. Getting to more Ultras. What I'm most concerned by, though, is that Astrea, he actually didn't lose any of his Tempests, if I recall correctly. One. He lost 1 Tempest, he only lost 2 Immortals. Like, his Immortal count and his Tempest count has been able to maintain themselves. He's been able to maintain them. So the quality of Astrea's army is still very high. Rex now getting to 3-3 for his Ultras. That's a kill, not a cancel. Kill the expansion, nicely done. Lings, ideally, they want the High Templar. They force out the storm. High Templar are exposed. And the carriers, the Corruptors, they shut down the Tempest. Immortals going down as well. Very nice dive. Getting some of the High Templar, gets both of them. Astrea losing his spellcasters there. Corruptors being spent to snipe some of these upgrades, not ideal. Cybercore survives. Corruptors have to pull away. And Rex, he is getting into a Broodlord Infestor based composition. Infestors are on the way, and the Greater Spire did complete. And then the first upgrade, +1 range, well, +1 air attack is on the way. Let's go. So, Lings, they collapse in. They get 1 High Templar. There's still 3 left. Ultras, they flank the army. Tempest's going to be going down. This is an expensive trade, though, for Rex. He loses all the Ultras. The Ultras and the Corruptors as well. And again, Rex, he doesn't really have the largest bank to work with here. I mean, he has a non-existent gas bank, I should say. 6 Ultras on the way. How many Corruptors left over? Barely any. 7 Corruptors. It's one of those things where on one hand, I mean, the Corruptor count isn't too important because Astrea, he's done with Skytos. He's only got 2 carrier. Oh, sorry, 2 Tempest, I meant to say. I do think this is a bit of a... almost a failing of Astrea here in the sense that I do think there's potential for a greater Skytos army just because these Corruptors have been 0-0 for so long and there's so few Corruptors as well. I do think that there's value in getting into a bigger investment there. Instead, Astrea is going into Ground Toss. Storm's going off even. Link collapsing in. But yeah, Estrella, he's countering the Ultras. He's countering this kind of army with purely Stalker, Storm, Archon, Immortal. Immortals get surrounded. Base goes down. 21 probe kills. Estrella going for his own counterattack, and Rex is racing back home. Like, I feel like Rex, he wants to fight a ground army, is what I'm getting at. Like, this is Rex's ideal. Yeah, Neural's coming in. Neural's the Archons. Let's go. Archons get Neuraled, collapse on top of the High Templar, and Rex, he will swallow this up. Yeah, we'll swallow every single unit here. Estrella losing everything, and now here come the Broodlords. And remember, there's no Sky Toss, so the Broodlords, they can reign supreme. I mean, even without the Broodlords, the Ultras, they're holding their own. They push forward. Storm's going up. Nice feedback, but again, what is the answer to these Ultras? Okay, we do overextend. Infestors go down. Massive pickups. Rex, he throws away his Infestors. The Ultras as well. Better fight for Estrella. And we're getting scrappy. We're getting scrappy badly. Rex, if only he had waited a little bit longer for his Broodlords. Broodlords, now they arrive after the Infestors had gone down. That was what, like 6 Infestors? Lings hit the gold. Broodlords are exposed. 1 goes down. Oh, almost 2. Infestors being rebuilt. Broodlords, they catch one of the High Templar. They go 1, they get 2. Very nice target firing. So High Templar, but another Broodlord falls. At the same time, Ultra, they hit bottom right. They go for the expansion. Estrella having a hard time keeping up. So let's catch out 2 Corruptors. And Rex, I'm not so sure he wants to engage here. There we go. He does pull away for now. Gold base is falling this entire time. And there we go. Now Rex, he can collapse in. Better engage here for the Zerg. Comes in from behind. He does surround the army. He locks it down. Fungal going up. Let's go. Ultra's pushing in. They get on top of the Immortal. But reinforcing Immortals have arrived. The High Templar. No! The High Templar. High Templar get caught out. And these are trades that Rex can afford. He killed 32 probes. GG gets called, and Rex, he ties it up 1-1. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. GG, well played. We are getting into game 3. And again, Estrella just tunnel visioning a little bit too much. As we were saying, at a certain point, he completely stopped embracing the Sky Toss. He stopped making Tempest. He didn't make a single carrier after his initial mothership went down. Estrella kind of met Rex where he wanted him to, right? As we were saying, Rex going for a very ultra-heavy composition, Estrella likewise embracing a more ground toss composition instead, with a more heavy Immortal Archon Templar-based army. So Rex was able to have a greater time against that, especially considering that Rex, he had no upgrades for his Corruptors. He had +1, like, air attack at the very end. He wouldn't have really been set up for that, and thankfully didn't have to worry about it. Didn't have to worry about it in the end. GG. GG, well played. And now we're going to the ace match. Let's go. Let us go. So we are getting into game 3. But yeah, very scrappy game. Very scrappy game. I mean, for both players. Both players did overextend at times. Both Estrella and Rex. There was that moment, if you remember, when Rex overextended with his Infestors towards the end of the game when he lost all of his Infestors before the Broodlords came in. Likewise, there were moments where Estrella was at times overextending with his High Templar. And now we're going to game 3. Here we go. Doesn't Queen Ultra counter carriers? We did not have Queen Ultra. And no, not necessarily. Not at all. Oh. As we're getting into game 3. Here we go. So we're getting into game 3 here. As we are settling into the ace match and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the American Protoss player. The American Protoss being forced into the ace match. We'll see if he can bounce back. It is Estrella. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player, the Taiwanese Zerg representing Offside Esports. It is Rex. Here we go. We are going to be settling in once again. We expect to see another Stargate opener out of Australia. I'm most curious as to where Rex is going to take us. Again, it was a really interesting style that Rex had. If you recall, he did go from Ling Hydra straight into Ultras, which I do stand by saying that it was a risky decision to go into Ultras. If you remember, he was trading poorly coming in towards that later game state before the Ultras did arrive, but he held. At the end of the day, he did hold, he did survive, didn't make it into those Ultras, and was able to gain map control from there. Still a very scrappy kind of mid to late game between Estrella and Rex. But again, Rex, he was able to get better engagements, he was able to get better surrounds, able to trade more efficiently against the High Templar, against the Archons, against the ground-based army of Estrella. And now, we find ourselves in the ace match. And we'll see who takes it from here. Again, this can go either way. We have seen Rex take down Estrella in the past. Likewise, we've seen Rex take down Estrella, so they do go, sorry, Estrella take down Rex, so they do go back and forth. We'll see which way this goes. Now, something about ley lines here is, as we can calm things down and talk about the map a little bit here, similar to Ultra Love, is very defendable on 3 and 4 bases. If you recall, you were talking about how more exposed the bases are on Amygdala. On Amygdala, the bases are more exposed, are a lot more vulnerable. That is true. I mean, we did see that come into play as well, with Estrella struggling to defend his fringe bases. Here on ley lines, less so. Here on ley lines, we have ramps, we have choke points, we have some points of elevation as well. Here, it is much easier to defend on 3, 4, and even 5 bases. They are more compact as well, and closer together, as opposed to Amygdala, for example. So there are some better defensive features here on ley lines. I would say not as extreme as Ultra Love. I do think that Ultra Love is even better for that sort of thing, but comparable. So here we do settle in to game 3. And we'll see what Estrella goes for. As a reminder as well, if you recall, Estrella did go for earlier Blink last game. He did delay his upgrades to get into Fast Blink to be safe. I'm curious if once again he goes for another safe opener or if he plays more standard. The thing is that, like, Rex, he did show in game 1 that he's willing to go all in. Like, he's willing to be an animal. He's willing to do so, so I'm sure Estrella, he's on edge. From here we can settle in. There's the first Oracle opener, soon to move out across the map. And we'll see if Rex does come into a harder Ling count again. When we've seen Rex be quite Ling heavy in general to apply pressure. Ooh, fast Twilight Council. Okay, I see you. So once again, this is very similar to the last game. Really fast Twilight Council out of Estrella. Now, if you remember, in the last game, this led into faster Blink, just as a very safe build to be safe against any kind of all-in. Here, though, as we mentioned last game, it could be Blink again, or we could be seeing something more aggressive, like Glaive Adepts. So we'll see if Estrella goes for Glaives or Blink. Is he more safe or more aggressive? How committed is Estrella going to be? Oracles get across the map, they threaten a dive, Queens are keeping up, and there it is, Blink once again. So this is the same build that Estrella went for in game 2, last game. So really fast Blink here. This leads into a later Forge, into later +1, but the plus side is you get early Blink to defend against any earlier all-in or any earlier aggression. You can be active yourself with it as well. But we'll see if Estrella does go for the Forge. If Estrella skips the Forge, this could be the beginning of his own aggression. Ah, there it is. Okay. Forge. Whew. I was waiting for it. But there we go. Forge is on the way. Meanwhile, Rex is going straight into +1 melee. So Rex, once again, is going for a more Ling-heavy start. Safety Roach Warren gets placed, just in case. And this should lead into layer tech into Hydras. Should. So we keep an eye on Rex. Meanwhile, Astrea rotating around. Does go for the southern expansion. Does spread in the base, and he should force a cancel. Oh my god, that was close. Ay. Calm down. Expansion is denied. Thankfully, Rex did double expand, so he still has a fourth base on the way. That's why it is important to double expand at certain times to make sure you get at least one base up and running. Lings, they collapse in. They do get a surround, but Blink is done. Yeah, Blink is done just in time. And Astrea, he can keep applying pressure. Ideally here, he can pick off a Queen, trade against the Lings. This is not designed to kill. Astrea, he's taking up from here into Storm and Archons. Oh. He's around there, locks down some of the Stalkers. Or at least tries to. It's going to be forced back. Astrea even catching out some of the Queens. Does quick forward, likewise Rex keeping up as well. Behind this, investing into roaches, no Hydrogen yet. Lair is done. And as opposed to the previous game, this time Astrea, he's actually maintaining this position a lot longer. A lot longer here. You see Rex attempting a run by, but Astrea, he comes back in time. Does turn back around. Fourth base is delayed. Astrea, he's here. And Rex is he has to get the hell out of here. Does turn around. But at least he forces his opponent to back off. Does force Astrea back home, and now Rex, he can join up, he can saturate his fourth base. What I will say is that Rex's saturation here is very late. Very late saturation on the fourth. Fifth base on the way. Like, clearly, because of the aggression, because of the pressure that Astrea was applying, Rex didn't feel safe to drone, and because of that, Rex is falling behind. He is falling behind economically. He has to get some counter damage. Rex, he does go for the fourth, and he should force a cancel. Nicely done. Containing Astrea on 3 bases for as long as he can. Back at home, Rex taking into the Hydrogen. Again, this is just a very similar setup to what we saw last time. Plus 2 melee on the way. And I'm curious if Rex's plan, once again, is to go into Hive into Ultras. Otherwise, I feel like we should be starting to work towards range upgrades. For Lurkers, I mean. Speaking of, Lurker Den gets thrown down. This is a lot more standard. If you remember, this is what I was expecting out of Rex in Game 2, and we saw Ultras instead, much later as well. But now we get an earlier Lurker Den into Hive, into Hydra Lurker Viper. Okay, let's go. Rex, he is gearing up. You know, Astrea pushing in. He's got one Storm. Oh, he's holding onto it. Is holding onto that Storm. Rex pulling back. More High Templar coming in. That's a lot of Storms. And Rex is in trouble. Can he hold on? It's going to be 5 Storms here for Astrea. And Rex trying to take up into Lurkers, but they're not going to be ready for this. Roaches are amassing. Massive Storms on the Roaches. And Astrea, he might just have too much. Oh my god. Brutal Storms here. And again, the earlier Stalker aggression did lead into this. Rex did fall behind. And he's not going to be able to stabilize. It's not happening. The Storms are brutal. Astrea, he dives in, takes down the Roaches. Voice being pulled away. And Rex, he's been broken. He has been broken. Astrea going for the kill. Queen's barely surviving. And again, Rex, he tried to get into Lurkers. He tried to stabilize, but alas, he could not. Not quite get there in time. And Astrea from here can push in. He's going to be able to reinforce. Prism has arrived. Stalker's moving forward. And this is when he just came to the production. Queens are falling one after the other. Again, it was a good effort here by Rex, but GG gets called, and Astrea will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Astrea does take it. Again, a much more successful Stalker timing from Astrea. If you remember, In game 2, Estrella, he was able to get like one Overlord, he was able to trade with the Lings, but then he had to back off with his Stalker aggression. This time he maintained his position at the 3rd base, he cancelled the 4th base as well, and he was trading so well against those Lings. And as we tried to point out, throughout all of that, Rex wasn't droning. Rex, he wasn't droning, he couldn't drone, he was stuck making more Lings, making more Roaches, his droning was late, it was delayed. By the time Rex forced Estrella to back off, by then the damage had been done, and Estrella was building up towards his storm timing. Rex, instead to recover, droned, teched up, and was caught out. He was caught out while he was droning, while he was teching. He did not have an army to hold, and GG. GG, well played. Whew. And with that, do we have our next series? Do we have our next match? Exclamation mark B in the chat as we head on over here to our bracket scene and we catch up on what has been going on. Let's go. Okay, let's quickly see here. It looks like we have some updates. We have ByuN. ByuN finally has a series. Pig takes down Patches 2-1, and Pig is up against ByuN in the round of 16 in a best of 3. Best of luck. Best of luck to those two players. I believe they're currently mid-series. If you want to tune in, check out Pig's POV. I see it's currently streaming on his channel, and we'll be casting the winner of that series against Estrella. That is the plan. We're going to be focusing here on the lower portion of the bracket. Scrolling up, we have Su. Su takes out Nickrak 2-1. Big shout to Nickrak, though. He did take a map. Again, Nickrak is hyper aggressive in TVZ. He often goes for 2-3 base all-ins. So Nickrak did slip Su up, at least for a moment. But Su does advance on to the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, herO takes down Apple Juice. Almost said applesauce. Takes down Apple Juice 2-1. And herO is up against MaxPax in the round 16 when it goes up against Su in the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, Zound takes out Rebellion. Rebellion takes a map. Let's go. Big shout out to Rebellion. Again, Rebellion is a Korean Protoss player, and he does force Zound to the ace match. Very impressive stuff there by Rebellion. Very nice. Scrolling on over, we have herO. herO takes down J Money 2-0. Geralt still mid-series against Wayne. That's a long one. That's a long series there, so best of luck to those players. Trappy's up against Mute in a PvP when it goes up against Zound in the quarterfinals. So for the most part, the round of 32 has concluded. Round of 16 is underway, and as I mentioned before, we are waiting for either ByuN or Pig to make it through against Estrella. Waiting for that next series. So that is the plan. That is the plan. As I just try to tidy things up. There we go. So we have MaxPax versus Su, as MaxPax took down herO, and we have Estrella versus his soon-to-be-determined opponent. Technically, I think we could jump into MaxPax and Su. Technically. It's one of those things where MaxPax and Su is going to be a fresh series. We could jump into that, but if we do, we might miss out on Estrella's match. And I kind of wanted to follow Estrella while I could. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So we are going to be settling in. Also, not a fan of early Oracle openers. So Oracle openers are very meta because they do provide you early scouting, early harassment, and better defense than a Void Ray. Void Ray openers are usually only designed to deny scouting information. It's usually designed to either to hide an all-in or keep your opponent in the dark and keep them guessing if you're going for an all-in. That is the difference. Again, the attack rate and the movement of the Void Ray is far lower, so against early Ling aggression to defend your third base, it's just weaker. Likewise, limited scouting. You could argue you can rely on Adepts to get scouting information as well. That is true, but it's not as reliable as Oracle. So just in general, Void Rays don't provide as much utility. They have their role, they have their place, and you do see Void Ray openers from time to time. That is true, you do see them, but the Oracle is just better. Let alone, this was the case even in the previous patch before the NG boost. Well before the NG boost, Oracle openers is the reason why they were meta. Now they're even better. Now they're even stronger because of the NG overcharge. So even if you discount the NG overcharge, it is still, I would say, a superior opener than Void Rays. Now just even better. And as we mentioned, Void Ray openers have their place in their own way, again, to hunt down Overlords to deny Vision, deny Scouting, and to go for like a Twilight Council into Glaive Adepts, or to go into DTs, or to go into an 8 gates, like, so an 8-gate 3-base all-in with Blink Stalkers. Like, they have their place, definitely, but they play a very different role. Very different role. They are another option for Protoss, if you so wish. Steadfast is doing Hushang versus MaxPax. So there you go. There you go. Steadfast, he's on that series. We're more than happy to wait for ByuN and Pig. I don't know if they're in game 2 or game 3. I'm uncertain as to where they are in the series. If you happen to be watching Pig's stream, let us know. I'd appreciate it. Whether they're, you know, in game 1 or if they're mid-series. Oh, Pig is playing Protoss? Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Or maybe he's playing random. Possible. Possible. Could be playing random. For now, though, I guess we're going to be going on a short break. I guess for now we're going to be going on a short break. Alright, hold on. There's just some banter going on in the chat. But yeah, for now we're going to be going in a short break, and when we come back, we will either be jumping into Pig and ByuN mid-series, or into the winner versus Australia. One or the other. So for now, going to be going on a short break. Take this time to get some snacks, get some food, get some water, drain your disruptors, massage your marines, and we'll be back soon with some more StarCraft. See you soon. See you soon. welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our quarterfinals, to the quarterfinals of PiGosaur Monday number 8. Oh boy, we have our two players ready for us. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look back yourselves. The majority of round 16 has concluded, and now we are embracing the round of 8. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of a neon violet square, we have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player from the land of the Americas. It is Estrella. Here we go, and if you are in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat with those predictions. With that, Gamba, let's go. Now, when it comes to this series, if you have been watching the CranKy Ducklings for the past like 2-3 months, then you would know that we see ByuN versus Estrella almost every single week. Shout out to both ByuN and Estrella. They are very active players in the online tournament scene, and they play very frequently as a result. Players like ByuN, Estrella, Shin, Trap, Nightmare, very active players. So they face time and time again. When it comes to recent results, I believe it was the previous Tenacious Turtle Tussle, if I recall correctly, where we had a best of 5 between ByuN and Estrella. I think we may have even seen these two players face off in the finals of the previous PiGosaur Cups as well. And recently has been going the way of Estrella. We'll have to double check. Definitely, so un momento. But for the most part, yeah, ByuN and Estrella, they have been trading very often, and I want to say that Estrella has had the most recent winning record against ByuN in a bit of a surprising fashion here. So it's been great to see Estrella take down ByuN time and time again, but they often go back and forth. Very rarely is it one-sided. Very rarely. It's usually, you know, game 4 or game 5. But here we're in a best of 3, not a best of 5. That is something to bear in mind, is that we are in a shorter series. Head-to-head, straight, unclear. Just checking. Yep, so there we go. So just double checking. So it was Tenacious Turtle Tussle, number 23, where Estrella took down ByuN 3-2. If you remember, this was last week. Estrella, he had a 2-0 lead over ByuN. ByuN then won 2 games in a row, and it was looking like a reverse sweep, and then Estrella barely did win it in the end. Then we had the previous week, PiGosaur Monday number 7, where ByuN took down Estrella 2-0. Then we had PiGosaur Monday number 6, where ByuN took down Estrella 3-1. Then the KSRC, the final one, I believe, of the season, where Estrella took down ByuN. So again, they go back and forth. Quickly double checking here, they are like 57%. ByuN has a 57% win rate against Estrella, so almost 50-50. 57, you know, we can round it down, or I guess round it up, 60-40, but close nonetheless. So I'm excited always to see these two face off. I'm excited. It's 57% in favor of ByuN for series. When it comes to game, it's 55%. Oh boy. Regardless, best of luck in the chat with those predictions. Don't envy you whatsoever. But now we have our openers. It is going to be a Rax Expand Economic Opener out of ByuN, going for a 3cc 3 Rax. This is ByuN's go-to. You should be very familiar with this build. Basically, very fast third base into a 3 Rax into a stim timing for ByuN. He would often do this on Site Delta in the previous map pool, and in the current map pool, I mean, Neon Violet Square screams 3cc 3 Rax because of how securely, how quickly you can get your third Rax up and running. So this is just a very common build for ByuN specifically, very stylistic for ByuN, I should say, very bio-oriented, of course. Now, the purpose and the power of this build really kicks in the mid-game. What I'm referring to, because ByuN's third base is so fast, when it gets fully saturated, that's when ByuN really gets going. That's when he gets into his 5 rack setup with Marauder production, with Marine production. He takes the supply lead as a result because of how quickly that third base is and because of how uncontested the third base is as well. Especially on this map, what can Estrella do to that third? Nothing. So it's really greedy and really powerful play here out of ByuN. Now, the one downside, the caveat here for ByuN, is that unlike on Site Delta, or unlike on some of these other larger maps, this third base is less valuable. There's only 4 patches. Only 4 mineral patches here at the third location, as opposed to a regular expansion. So because of that, this 3cc 3 racks from ByuN is actually going to be a little bit weaker than it usually is. Because usually he just goes in just full 3-way saturation. Now he's going to have like 2 3/4 saturation. or even 2.5. So that is going to impact the mid-game here for ByuN. As he's just getting into the rest of his Raxes. Stim is almost done. Back at home, Estrella did open Blink. It was a Blink-based opener, 2-gate Blink into a third, into a fourth base. I love that Estrella, he's meeting greed with greed. It's just all about cutting corners. It's almost like, not quite post-youth. What is the map that I was thinking of? I keep forgetting the name of the map, from like 2 seasons ago, which had a pocket base, but a full base as well, and we would often see split map scenarios on it. Raz the Station, that's it. Jesus. I'm like purging that map from my memory. But very similar to Radisson Station, actually, where on Radisson Station, it was just a game of greed. Like, it was just a game of just mass expanding as quickly as possible and just cutting as many corners as possible as well. It was disgusting. Similar here. Meanwhile, I shout to Doom in the chat. Baby God, thank you so much for resubscribing for 4 months with Twitch Prime. Thank you. Thank you so much for resubscribing. Gracias. Yes, hydrate, Papi, hydrate. Hold on. I'll drink some water. Oh my God. Oh, the agüita. Because ByuN does move out. Does force the army back. Just trading here so far. Estrella not losing a single Stalker yet. Maintaining himself. Getting 2 Marines. ByuN going for a drop here towards the south. Double drop with Stim, of course. Estrella building up, working towards Charge, towards Archons, and towards Storm. Not quite yet, though. Has yet to throw down the the Temple Archives. So Estrella just working with a purely gateway composition. Has a lot of Zealots. And is not working towards Storm, he's working towards Colossus. Interesting. Second Robo, the base on the way, going from Charge Stalker into Colossus. Let's go. To double Robo Colossus production. Estrella's getting there. ByuN moving out. I do like the idea of Colossus initially, just because there's just too much bio. There's just so much bio here. Army's going to be engaging. Again, plenty of charges to collapse here on the Marauders and the Marines. Massive pickoffs. Marauder gets caught out. Nice catch here from Estrella. Likewise, forcing ByuN back towards left-hand side as well. And ByuN, he wanted to hit a 1-1 timing, but he's denied. ByuN is denied again. So important here that Estrella, he's active in the center of the map to get better engagements and to force ByuN back. So ByuN is delayed. Estrella getting a 5th expansion so quickly here. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. 5th base on the way. Colossal production soon to begin. 4th base is 9. That's a kill. That's a kill, not a cancel. Massive pickup here in favor of Estrella. That's 400 minerals down the drain. And this Ghost Academy gets thrown down. Estrella threatening a dive into the main base as well with that War Prism. And ByuN, despite having initially a strong start here in the mid-game, he has been struggling. His army's been being picked apart. His 4th base as well. Massive Warpin into the main. And the Warpin will complete. At the same time, Estrella does rotate over towards the 4th base. There are some Widow Mines, though, waiting for him. Zealous and wreak havoc. They distract. Mines just going up. Oh, massive connections. Oh, my God. Massive connections, but he does at least still deny the 4th. As a Prism is still distracting. Zealous still in the bases. 10 SCVs going down. Going for a massive Warpin. And it will finish. Just barely. Will complete. Not enough Marines, not enough anti-air. Prism will get the hell out of here. We'll save some of those Zealots. Getting 16 SCVs. And Estrella, he's just chilling. He doesn't have to push in. Estrella, he doesn't have to go for the kill. He's harassing, killing workers, denying expansions, and building up into Colossus. As again, 2 Colossus at a time. Prism finally goes down. ByuN can finally break out. What's he pushing into? He's pushing into Colossus. Estrella is looking good. Estrella is looking strong. Does have to be wary. He's up to 2 Colossus currently, getting up to 4. ByuN moving out. Estrella doesn't want to be caught. He falls back to his 4th base. No shield batteries. Bear that in mind. No shield batteries at the 4th yet. Scans ahead of time. Spots the 4th base. ByuN moving in. There are 2 Vikings. Did I say 2? Down to 1. 1 Viking goes down. ByuN just peeling off, going for a Doom drop towards the main. Main army rotates towards the 3rd. Estrella not quite in position. Uh-oh, he does miss the drop. Does he have a warp in? Astray, he's almost maxed out. Not much to warp in. Astray, he rotates towards the third base. Doom Drop does unload. Astray, he has to engage. He does collapse on the army. But so many gateways going to be going down, and Astray, he has no answer to this. Not yet. And does Astray just go for the base straight at this point? As it can't quite recall into the main. Yeah, the main base, it is going to fall. All the gateways, the Nexus, the upgrades. There's a lot of Zelts, though. Having a hard time pushing in. Nexus goes down. Ooh, depowers and denies the upgrades as well. Yeah, just a brutal Doom Drop here. This Doom Drop, it is keeping ByuN in this game, if not even going to be winning in this game. I mean, the main army's still in favor of Estrella, but now he's supply blocks. More gateways going down, more Twilight Councils. Again, just Estrella was completely out of position earlier, and now he finally makes it back home. But this was brutal. And ByuN escapes. Oh, one Medvac goes down, but he escapes with most of his army. So a very successful drop here from Estrella. Sorry, from ByuN. But what I will say, ByuN is still on 3 bases. ByuN was committed. He was very committed there. He's still stuck on 3 bases. He needs a 4th soon. But at least he denies +3. +3 was denied. 3-3 now on the way for ByuN. Estrella trying to catch out the drop. He gets spotted. Trying to rotate back over. Again, a very immobile army. He's up to 5 Colossus. It's one of those things where if Estrella was able to fight head-on, he would win. 100%. He would win the fight. But when it comes to split map pushes, when it comes to these split scenarios, he's having a harder time. Otherwise, he'd have map control, and Estrella could threaten the 4th, but Estrella, he's stuck at home. He's stuck at home. 4th base is getting up and running. ByuN could even try to double expand. 3-3 is almost done as well for ByuN. Someone asking in the chat, are they both pro players? Yes. Most of the people that we cast today have been pro players. So ByuN, Estrella, Rex that we casted earlier. All pro players. ByuN, yes, the other I don't know. Oh, you have to watch some more StarCraft. Oh, no. Watch some more StarCraft, man. As ByuN is going to rotate. Heads towards the 3rd. We'll be threading the mineral line. Nova goes up. Up! D's connection. And again, Estrella, he can take this fight. The Disruptor is not going to go down. Does pull away in time. Estrella is still maxed out. There's still that Doom Drop, though, threading the main. This time Estrella is in position. This time he's ready. So Estrella takes a massive supply lead. Ooh. Takes the monster to the face. That was, I believe, One-Eyed Templar. Sentry. Sentry going down. Army collapsing in. ByuN doesn't commit. Again, this time there's the Observer. Estrella, he has eyes on this. He does spot the drop. And ByuN, he scans ahead of time. He knows. He knows that Estrella is ready. Pulls back. Unfortunately, this drop is still keeping Estrella pinned back at home. Otherwise, he could move out. And again, I do favor Estrella if he does engage with this army. But so far, he's not. He's actually trying to collapse on the drop itself. Which means he's being dragged out of position. Estrella moving in. Goes to a blink. He gets 1. He gets 2. 2 Medivacs go down. And now ByuN strikes. Now there's a recall. There we go. Does recall over in time. Army's ready. And Estrella, he can shut this down. He can and he will. Nova goes off. Massive connection. And ByuN's crumbling. At this point, he is crumbling. He lost his drop. He lost the main army. Drop back into the main. Meanwhile, across the map, Planetary is at least holding its own, but Estrella, he can aim it. He can aim it, Pappy. Let's go. He can move out across the map. ByuN, the drop in the main base is getting some damage done. 5 probe kills. But Estrella should be feeling confident, and he can go in for the kill. Send it, Pappy. Send it. Back at home, what is it to defend? There's a couple of Vikings. There's a couple of Ghosts. Not much left over. Here we go. Estrella's pushing in. Nova going up. Disruptor goes down. And some of the Colossus taking a lot of damage as well, but overall, Estrella, he should be able to overwhelm. as he just has a massive supply advantage. Takes down the bunker, jump across the map, gets cleaned up. Astrea defends. Now he can focus on the push. He focused on the main fight. The boys are being pulled. Decent EMPs. Disruptor goes down. Colossus as well. But again, for the most part, Astrea, he just overwhelms the army. I say that the EMPs were actually quite good. Oh my god. ByuN taking the best fight he could hope for. But here come the reinforcements. Oh, Astrea, be careful. Nova's going off. The concave here, the arc on top of the ramp was ideal for ByuN. Did lose his mineral line in the process, but he holds. ByuN is holding on. Astrea in the process, he lost how many? 3 Colossus? I think 3 Colossus went down in that fight. Down to 2. Astrea is still maintaining the economic lead. He could try and threaten the planetary. Meanwhile, ByuN takes another expansion. ByuN is still in this. ByuN, he re-expands, getting a 5th base. Building up a heavy Marauder army. This is where Astrea needs more either Disruptors or Storm or both. Like, Colossus are less effective here. Like, they're just, it's mainly Marauder. It's mainly Marauder army. Colossus, they tickle Marauders. As army supplies are evening up. Astrea spots the army. Nova goes up. Up! Massive connection! Good Nova here for Astrea. ByuN has to back off. Wasn't quite noticing. There's another Nova. Do go off. They get a Ghost. But Astrea here overextends. Disruptors are exposed. Yeah, a bit of miscontrol there from Astrea, losing all the Disruptors, losing a Colossus as well. Yeah, rough trade for Astrea. He will still chase this down. But ByuN got 4 Disruptors there. Ay, ay, ay. Astrea taking more bases, but again, ByuN, he can now maintain himself. He has a fresh mining base. And this game is slipping away from Astrea. It is slipping away. As ByuN is recovering, has a supply lead. Again, that was just a really rough fight for Astrea, losing 4 Disruptors. And Astrea's hurting. He's hurting, Pat. Do we have Storm yet? No. No Storm. Oof. Only 1 Colossus. There are 0 Disruptors. 0 Disruptors, 0 High Templar, 1 Colossus. The splash damage is lacking for Astrea. And ByuN, he can take this fight. With good EMPs, he can shut this down. Speaking of EMP on the sentries. ByuN stepping in. Brutal EMP. Oh my god. The EMPs are brutal. The Archon's going to be melting. The 1 Colossus doing what he can in the back line. He's doing what he can. But how the pendulum swings from one player to the other. Again, Astrea was playing so well this game. There were a couple of crucial mistakes from Astrea, specifically, you know, the drop into the main that did so much damage. But even outside of that, Astrea still had a lead. But GG gets called, and ByuN, he will take game number 1. They will take a lead in the series. GG, the comeback, Papi. Again, Astrea just having a very rough fight earlier, pushing up the ramp, pushing up the concave. He lost all of his Colossus, lost his Disruptors, even afterwards as well. Resetting that Disruptor count was brutal, and losses that Astrea just could not afford. GG, well played. ByuN takes a lead. ByuN does take a lead here, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Here we go. Upgrades that ByuN has been ahead. Yes, as we did mention, if you recall, the forges were sniped. If you remember, we were talking about the drop that went into the main base, which didn't just kill the main nexus, but also crippled the production and also sniped both forges. Both forges did go down. If you remember, that was the moment where ByuN sniped +3. So +3 attack of Astrea was heavily delayed as a result, referring to that Doom drop into the main. Just to wind it back a little bit, as a reminder. Here we go. So now getting ready here for game number 2. Getting ready for game 2 here, and we'll see. I mean, I'm hoping for an ace match, regardless of how this goes, whether it goes the way of ByuN or Astrea. Hoping for a game 3. I mean, again, as we did mention, for this year, for 2024, Astrea and ByuN, they are very close when it comes to their series score. Again, like 55% in favor of ByuN. And you can even see it here. There's definitely a world where Straya definitely could have won that first game. He definitely had his own advantages, had his own leads when it came to his economy. Now we're getting ready for that second game. Getting ready. Here we go. Here we go. It looks like our players, they need a little bit of time though. I don't blame them. I don't blame them after that first game. They're calming things down. Do we have any other updates in the bracket? Looks like finally the entirety of the round of 16 has concluded. Ooh, and we have confirmation. Yeah, it's as we assumed would happen. Purely PvPs in the upper half of the bracket. There's one Zerg player left in the tournament. But we have a Protoss confirmed for the finals, as we're used to seeing. I guess we can take this moment to switch our scenes over and have a look. From the top here. Let's see. Let's scroll on up. But from the top, we have herO versus Geralt, and Trap versus ByuN. As we mentioned at the time, when it comes to the top, like the round of 16 here, Wayne was the only non-Protoss to really contest against these players. And he did take a map, did go to the ace match against Geralt, but Wayne went down, so now pure Protoss here. So we have at least one Protoss for the finals. We'll see if it's going to be herO, Geralt, Trap, or ByuN. Wish them all the best of luck. But again, we are focusing on the lower half of the bracket. I do enjoy PvPs, but when I saw the bracket and when I saw how it was seeded, I'm like, yeah, it's just going to be purely PvP in the upper half of the bracket. We'll try and have some variety here on the channel, which is why we started with Rex, leading into Australia and ByuN. Just for some diversity. But here we go, we're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frostline, we have the South Korean Protoss player, South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing himself. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. We know he can, but the pressure is on. It is a straight up. Here we go. As we are settling into game 2. We'll see, can we stop the PvP finals? We'll see. We'll do our best. As for now, we're getting to our openers. Loading into Frostline. Frostline is a very large map. It is smaller than Neon Violet Square, I should emphasize. I believe Neon Violet Square is the largest map in the map pool, but Frostline is still up there. The big difference, though, is that the bases are more exposed. This is a more modern map, so it does have more modern tendencies. What I mean by that, usually on small maps, the bases are more defendable. On large maps, they're more vulnerable. So that is kind of like the guideline for more of these modern maps. So because of that, this third base and this other the third and fourth base locations are a lot more open. The ramps are wider as well, and they're also spread out. They're a lot more spread out here compared to some of the more older maps, which didn't really have this kind of guideline, referring to Neon Violet Square, referring to Abyssal Reef, and King's Cove. So here you have that give and take of large map, but more exposed bases. So we'll see how this does turn out. We'll see who gains momentum early on. For now, it's going to be a gate expand into Cybercore from Australia. Meanwhile, ByuN across the map just going for a double gas opener. Interesting. It's going to be double gas, going for a Rax into Factory here, into a more delayed TC, so a very safe opener by ByuN. And the safe opener can also turn into a more aggressive one with a faster starport into Banshees, into early tank production, into an early drop. We'll see where ByuN leads us. Here we go. Good. This blink is on the way. So it's going to be Twilight Council into Blink, standard opener here out of Australia, Double Reaper into the main. Will threaten a dive. Oh! Gets a probe. Gets a worker, gets almost 2. So far, pretty good damage out of ByuN, getting 3 probes. Oh my god! This is getting a bit of out of hand. 3 worker kills so far. Very nice damage by ByuN. And with that, ByuN does take a lead early on. At the same time, Hellion into the natural. Doesn't quite get much more damage though. There's a shield battery, thankfully. And Estrella holds. Estrella does hold on. Regardless, so a nice start for ByuN. Behind this, getting into his own 1-1-1. As we mentioned, faster factory meant faster starport into a faster drop. It's going to be Widowmine opener, Widowmine drop by ByuN. We'll see if Estrella can keep up and can survive. See if he can hold on. ByuN going for his Widowmine drop across the map. Now, this is not designed to do damage. This is designed to scout, to get some scout information, and to get a read on what Estrella is up to. As it is only 2 Widowmines, and Estrella will now take his 3rd. Now, bearing in mind, this is a 3rd base after the gateway, so it's going to be 3-gate blink into a more delayed 3rd. So very safe play by Estrella. Mind drop comes in. Boys have to pull away. Widowmine here on top of the ramp. Oh, on top of the cliff face. And so far, just 2 probe kills. Nothing too major. And ByuN will save both Widowmines. Barely will. Both Widowmines should have said. Up! The Stalker! Widowmass! One more shot! Up! Oh my god, he gets the medevac. Massive pick off ByuN with some miscontrol. I don't know if you noticed there, but ByuN, he did fail to pick up the Widowmine twice. He was kind of rotating between the base. It took a long time to pick up, and he was punished for that. Ay, ay, ay. So Estrella does shut him down. A better start for Estrella. And again, ByuN with the miscontrol with that medevac micro. With that, Estrella getting across the map. Going for the scouts. It gets eyes on the 3-1-1. Standard setup here by ByuN. But at least Estrella confirms there is no tech lab on the starport, so there's no Banshee follow-up, there's no Raven follow-up. Just Bio. Speaking of Raven, it is going to be shut down as it is cornered. Oh no! The Raven falls as well. No dead space here between the bases. Again, ByuN having a really rough start here. Ideally, the Raven would distract, would keep supply busy, would get some economic damage, but alas, it's not this time, not here. And Estrella looking very solid here in the early game. That is 2 more axes. Okay, ByuN getting up to a 5-rack setup. This might just be a 2-base all-in. That would make a lot of sense, considering how poorly the early game has been for ByuN. I would not be surprised if he does commit, and even pulls the boys with this. We'll see, though. Really, we're looking for the 3rd base. We're looking for the 3rd TC. Does he throw it down here in the main, or on the low ground? It's in the main. Oh, never mind, Depot's on the way. So we'll keep an eye on whether or not ByuN expands. Otherwise, he might just commit. Observer dips in. We have the Observer to scout the move out. ByuN's still building up. He's massing up his army. Likewise, Estrella just now finishing up charge into +1. Thankfully, the Observer is close enough to spot the main army, and Estrella, he sees the move out. Does spot the army moving out. Estrella, you can see him respond. He's moving out to delay the push. And ByuN is committed with this. He is committed. Oh, Prism across the map, bold move by Estrella. This will force the all-in if he's able to get into the mineral line, but there are reinforcements back to him to defend. Estrella, he threatens the dive. Army in position. Does he warp in at home? He does. Ooh, medevac goes down. Estrella, he does warp in defensively. Tanks do siege, but ByuN is not really threatening a base. Estrella, his 3rd is elsewhere. Zelsa drop into the natural. SCVs are going down. And Estrella, he's ready for this. Yeah, he defends. Estrella defends. Forces back the army. Estrella on the hunt. He can try to chase this down. And likewise, War Prism in the main base, keeping ByuN busy back at home, forcing him to keep supply. Pinned in the main. And still no 3rd TC. No expansion. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Estrella. Again, this move out is designed to deal crippling damage, potentially just end the game. Zelt's back in. Astray being so careful with this drop as well. I'm impressed. Oh god! I'm impressed. And there we go, the boys are being pulled. As you mentioned, it's a 2-base all-in. Like, there's no third. There's no third base. 2-base all-in out of ByuN. Again, this makes sense just because of the poor early game. Like, ByuN cannot recover and get into a longer game state. Not in this kind of setup. So it's all or nothing. And there's no splash damage for Estrella. Uh-oh. No Storm, no Colossus, no Disruptor, no nothing. ByuN can pull this off. Zelt's take collapse in. Estrella getting choked up. Mind shot's going up. Nice hold position micro. Avoid splash damage. Estrella taking it slow. Colossus on the way. Again, time is on Estrella's side. Being very patient. Warping in more Zealots. ByuN throwing down a wall of depots. Slowly pushing forward. Getting within range of the Robo. Robo under fire. Tank shots going up. Estrella does try to collapse in from the right-hand side. Mine shots going up, but the tanks are exposed. And the tanks, can he bring them down? Ah, barely not. Zelta coming from behind. We get the surround, armies overstimmed, and Estrella, he holds on. The Colossus arrives just in time, shuts down the Bayou. Cleans up the army. That was 30 SCVs going down. And Estrella, he's looking to force the ace match. I mean, again, Estrella, he was in a winning position in a game 1, here in game 2 as well. Estrella, though, he's in a bit of trouble. ByuN reinforcements have arrived. Roto's diving in, getting on top of the Robo. Boys are being pulled. He's going for the Colossus. He gets it. Colossus goes down. Estrella, can he hold on? He pulls even more boys. There, he does hold. GG gets called, and Estrella ties up the series. We are going to the ace match. GG. GG, well played. Very patient and very careful play out of Estrella. Again, I love that Estrella didn't warp in across the map. He also confirmed the all-in, as we were saying, because ByuN, because he lost the Widowmine, because he lost the Raven, because ByuN had such a rough start to the game, did make sense for him to go for the 2-base all-in, but it was also on Estrella to confirm. And he did. He had the Observer outside the natural. On top of that, the War Prism kept checking the main and the natural. And again, really important as well that Estrella, he was making sure he was reinforcing back at home, kept warping in, made sure he was playing it safe. He was also very careful with that War Prism to harass, killing some SCVs here and there, never committing too hard. GG. Really well done. Really well done there by Estrella. And now we're getting into the ace match. Oh boy. Getting into game 3. It's going to be on El Dorado. And this is a very chaotic map. This is the most vetoed map in the map pool, so I'm shocked to see it here. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be. You know, it's Estrella. He does often enjoy some of these more unorthodox maps. And I'm curious if we have any spicy builds. Oh. I'm curious. As we're getting ready here for that third game. And it looks like we're being joined by some of the other casters. It looks like Sue versus MaxPax has concluded. As Steadfast is joining us as well. Beautiful. So we are getting to the ace match. And again, El Dorado is known for having short rush distance by air. Short rush distance by air map. Likewise, goal bases as well. There's 3 goal bases on this map that we can embrace. We can have a look at as well. It's a lot to go over. Here we go. Getting into game 3 and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of El Dorado, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion, being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? Can he bring it home? It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Protoss player forcing the ace match, bringing us all the way to game 3. Can he keep it going? It is Estrella. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Neo in the chat. Oh my god. El papi. El abogado. Oh my god. You graduated, right? If you're still in the chats, big shout to Neo, of course, ex-CranKy Duckling, ex-member of the CranKy Ducklings, Terran player extraordinaire, and I believe recently did finish law school. I believe. I could be mistaken, but felicidades. Felicidades, papi. Ay, ay, ay. Congratulations. Now we have a lawyer. In a way. Oh no. In case we need you. As Australia's getting to a standard opener, gate expand. Before Cybercore, so slightly more greedy here by Australia. Okay, way into Nexus. Likewise, back at home, ByuN going for his own Rax expand. Sorry, Rax into factory. Double gas opener, double gas here out of ByuN. So he's going for a delayed CC into a faster factory. We saw this last game. If you remember, in game 2, this led into a Widowmine drop. It led into a Widowmine drop opener, which did fall on its face. It was a little bit lackluster there from ByuN, and Australia had a very strong start to game 2. But we'll see where this leads in game 3. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. So we are settling in. For now, it is going to be a Stargate opener out of Australia. Interesting. For the first time this series, every game so far, we've had Blink. Twilight Council into Blink. It is the go-to. It is the stock standard. Going for a Stargate opener is a little bit risky. In a way, like Stargates, they have their pros and cons. The big con for a Stargate opener is you are vulnerable early on to tank pushes, to early game aggression. Again, Phoenixes, they have a really hard time dealing with those early pushes just because you're limited by your energy. So it can be quite risky, but if your opponent plays standard, if your opponent isn't aggressive, then you can gain map control and you can get away with a bit of a greedier start, taking faster into, for example, Colossus, into a more robo-based composition. Likewise, they allow you to harass early on as well. As Reapers, they dive into the main. It's going to be 2 probe kills for 2 Reapers. I would say a better trade for Australia, as it is 1-to-1. And my apologies, I assumed it was going to be Stargate into Phoenix, but instead Stargate into Oracle. Okay. It's going to be an Oracle opener here out of Australia. With an Oracle, he can harass across the map. He can scout, of course. The downside here is that it means he has less anti-air and less consistent anti-air to deal with drop play, referring to Blink Stalkers or Phoenixes. We'll see where Australia takes us. We have the NG overcharge on the Oracle as it zooms across the map. Back at home, ByuN building up, getting to Cyclones. Very safe opener here. ByuN did scout, did confirm the Stargate earlier, so he's getting ready to defend. Marines back at home, Cyclone as well, into Viking, just everything that shoots up. ByuN is getting ready for Phoenixes. I mean, for anything. Oracle dips in. Gets relation. Oh my god, into Fleet Beacon. He's crazy. Australia Stargate opener, Oracle into Fleet Beacon, second Stargate into Skytoss. Oh my god. This is something you do not see too often in this matchup. Oracle takes a lot of hits. Oracle goes down. Ooh, that's a massive pickoff, actually. The Oracle was designed to scout, was designed to give Australia a heads up as it comes to a move out. Australia's in the dark, and ByuN should soon push. Aye, that should not have happened. Australia is in trouble. Remember, he is taking quite heavily into a higher form of tech, of course. And he has very little to defend. He has 2 vanilla Stalkers, 1 Adept, 1 Shield Battery. Void Ray's on the way. Void Ray is going to be quite necessary to defend, and here comes ByuN. Does move out. We have a Viking towards the main army here towards the left-hand side. Banshee on the way behind this as well, into Cloak Banshee. Tempest production has begun, and the Viking will confirm. Void Ray attempts to deny. Oh my god. Denies a scout. Okay, I see you. Scout is denied. ByuN, he pulls back. He doesn't commit. ByuN pulls away. Does spot the Void Ray. And so far, Australia, he's getting away with this. He's crazy. Is getting away with this. Let's go. See in chat, is this the OP Cyclone version? If you've been watching the channel over the past week, tournaments do not play with the live version of the game. Tournaments play with a mod that does fix the Cyclone. So you actually shouldn't have seen any tournaments with the bugged Cyclone, only like ladder streams. Like people that stream on ladder and stuff like that, that's where you would have experienced the bugged Cyclone. But tournaments, they do play with a modded version, which removes that. Does remove that. As Banshee dives into the main, or into the natural. Ooh, is it detection? Zero detection. Zero detection here for Estrella. There's no Oracle. The Oracle died. There's no Robot. There's no Observer. Probes are going down. This is a rough start here for Estrella. But he does move out across the map. We'll see what he can get done. As probes are falling one after the other. Tempest, they reveal themselves. They get a couple of SCV, or they get one SCV. They threaten the main. 2 more starports are on the way. As a response, Stim can be denied. True. Meanwhile, that's going to be 10 probe kills. Oh my god. 10 workers going down. Oracle now arrives. 11 probes. The Tempest. Now the Tempest is caught. Very nice position here out of ByuN. Does he get it? Up. He barely does. 1 Tempest falls. Massive pickup. Stim still up and running. Banshees are being defended against. Finally. They're going to be cleaned up. But Stim is denied. Very chaotic game state. But what's important though is that ByuN did go double starport. So he's got triple starport production. Mass Viking on the way. Is getting to Mass Viking. And the Tempest will attempt to delay. Going for the add-ons. Trading with Marines. More Tempests are building up. Marines coming in from behind. Once again, good damage here on the Tempest. And they're getting low. They're getting very low. Vikings have made it. They get 1. 2 Tempests left. 2 Tempests remaining. Up. And he gets the final Tempest as well. Down to 1. Again, just really brutal trades here for Estrella. Losing every single Tempest. Recall not effective. And ByuN holds. ByuN holds. He's getting his 3rd base. Back at home, what does Estrella have to work with, actually? He's got a really weird army. He's got 2 Tempests. He's got some Stalkers. Remember, he has no Blink. Really, the Tempest are the backbone of his army. Takes down more Marines. Ooh, Oracle goes down once again. Again, Estrella just trying to whack her on multiple fronts. He's moving forward. No Blink! Oof. And there it is, GG. GG gets called. A very interesting build here out of Estrella, but alas, ByuN, he shuts it down, and ByuN will take the series at 2-1. GG. GG, well played. I would say that Estrella definitely has potential with that build, but unfortunately, the Banshee opener from ByuN did catch him with his pants down. It was almost like a build order loss in a way, just because Estrella didn't scout the Banshees, Banshees didn't scout... Estrella didn't scout the Banshees, ByuN didn't scout the Tempest, but there was no detection. No detections for the Banshees. They got 11 probe kills. They kept Estrella busy back at home. Because he was trying to defend, that also meant that he was inattentive to his Tempest, and we saw like 1 Tempest go down early on as well to Marines around. Like there was just a lot going on, and alas, Estrella was pulled apart with that. GG. GG, well played. ByuN will take it. ByuN will advance on to the semifinals. And does ByuN have an opponent? We're here to find out. Exclamation mark. Be in the chat if you guys want to have a look back yourselves. Let's go. You're right. I got my degree. Just went back to the stream because I was watching it while listening to music. Good to hear, Pappy. Good to hear. Again, congratulations. Congratulations. I mean, law school is not an easy thing to go through, so much love to Nia. Much love. But we have updates. We have updates here in the back end. From the top, herO. herO takes down Geralt 2-0. herO, he's waiting for the winner of Trap and Down. I'll be honest, herO, he's an amazing player, and I do think that he has a stronger PvT and PvZ than both Trap and Down. But specifically in PvP, this could go either way, to be honest. Like herO, Trap, Down, any one of those 3 players can make it to the finals. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a chaotic one. Best of luck to all those Protoss players. Again, 1 Protoss is confirmed for the finals. Which one? Yet to be determined. Meanwhile, we're going to be scrolling down to the lower portion of the bracket. We have our semifinals ready. We have our semis. Just trying to make this look a little bit nicer. Hold on. That kind of works. Hold on. Maybe. There. Okay, we have our top 4. Oh my god, that series just wrapped up. We have our top 4. We have herO and Trap from the top side, and we have MaxPax and ByuN from the bottom. So we have our top 4 players. Trap takes down 2-1, went all the way to the ace match, went all the way to game 3. Again, that's what we expected, what we assumed. Very close between all these players. So we have herO and Trap and MaxPax and ByuN. As you can imagine, we're following ByuN into his series. We're going to be following him into his series versus MaxPax. Let's go. So ByuN versus MaxPax is going to be coming up next on the channel. Do need a moment to set things up. Do need a moment here. Estrella is MaxPax. Estrella is Max Angel, not MaxPax. As ByuN did just take down Estrella 2-1. So again, up next is ByuN versus MaxPax. Different Max, Pappy. Different Max. What is this tournament? Monday Open Cup? Yes, yes. The ESL Open Cups are on hiatus, so the PiGosaur Monday has replaced the ESL Americas Monday Cup. Gracias, ahí libre. Por fin, papi, por fin. No more studying. Max and ByuN are pretty evenly historically, right? Ooh, ByuN and Estrella evenly historically. ByuN and MaxPax, I think it is a little bit more in favor of MaxPax. Let me just double check. You know what? I can just give you some math. That's what I can do. I can give you some numbers back. Oh, I can try to at least. Date range. Okay. As we're getting into our first semifinals here, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Frostline, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Danish Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. Here we go. Okay. I have some math for you here, which is what we expected. Again, ByuN and Estrella, it's 55% in favor of ByuN. ByuN and MaxPax, very different, much more heavily in favor of MaxPax. So best of luck in the chat with its predictions. Predictions are open, and best of luck. If you are curious, MaxPax has a 77% win rate against ByuN. So much more heavily in favor of MaxPax, which again is what we expect. MaxPax, he is the best Protoss player in all of Europa, arguably in the world, arguably. But the best Protoss player in Europe. And specifically, he has some killer PvT. Again, MaxPax's PvT was forged in the flames of Clem, as both Clem and MaxPax have been improving in their specific PvT matchup over the years. So it is terrifying. Here we go. As the MaxPax is going for a Gate Cyber Expand, standard opener out of MaxPax. ByuN back at home going for a double gas opener. It's going to be Rax into Factory. Now, we have seen ByuN take MaxPax down. Most recently, ByuN did take down MaxPax in Wardy TV's PTR tournament 2-0. That's something to bear in mind. So the stats that I'm pulling are for the past year. For the past 1 year of play, that is, MaxPax's win rate against ByuN. But now we're on a new patch, right? We're now on a new patch, new map pool as well. That is something to bear in mind, is that, of course, the previous results are taking into account a different patch, different version of the game. Because that, I do want to say that ByuN and MaxPax are quite comparable to each other. And again, as I mentioned, we did see ByuN recently defeat MaxPax in Wardy's tournament, in the PTR tournament. That was in the PTR, though. Now we're here in the live version of the game. And we'll see if MaxPax can hold his own and get his revenge on ByuN. As MaxPax is going for a Twilight Council opener, makes sense. Twilight Council into Blink, Reaper dips in. Will threaten the workers, but so far MaxPax, he does respond well. He does pull away. ByuN, he wants that probe, and he does get a full scout. Probe does survive. ByuN, he scouts a Twilight Council. is aware, and the Reaper should be hunted down. The Reaper does fall. All in all, good scout by ByuN. Didn't kill any workers, but did at least confirm what was going on. That is the least that ByuN was hoping for. Meanwhile, with MaxPax gets across the map, it does get the SCV, delays the command center, not bad. Does delay the CC. As MaxPax he trades against the Marines. Second Adept has arrived, and MaxPax he might delay once again. First Adept gets into the main, and the CC will be delayed for a second time. Ay, ay, ay. ByuN having a harder time here in the early game. GG gets called as it's just too much too quickly. ByuN taps out, and MaxPax takes game number 1. Again, that was from bad to worse. So much there should not have happened. First, the Adept should not have gotten into the main. Second, I mean, because of that, everything just snowballed out of control. Workers were going down. That was 3 SCV kills. Big delay on the natural. Too many mistakes too quickly here at this level of play. That is unacceptable. And with that, MaxPax takes a lead. GG. And we'll see if ByuN can bounce back. Again, we'll need to tighten up his early game here to be able to actually contest against MaxPax. Oh boy. Oh boy. Here we go. 9 months studying for an exam for 45 minutes. Crazy, crazy. ¿De dónde eres? Ah, de Australia, papi, de Australia. Mis padres son de Perú. Los dos son mis padres. De Lima y de Tumbes. Ga, papi, ga. Pero estoy aquí en Australia. En Australia, papi. We are getting into game 2. Just catching up. When do you see that? I mean, we saw something similar. I want to say last week in Wardy. Was it Wardy TV Monday? I think so. Yeah, it was last week in Wardy TV Monday. MaxPax versus Clem. We saw something very similar as well. Where MaxPax he got an early lead against Clem. If you remember, it was on not Dynasty, Amphion. That's it. It was on Amphion, where MaxPax he delayed the CC, he killed the first Cyclone, killed the first Reaper, and then Clem GG'd out. He GG'd out like in the first 5 minutes. Like, again, it's one of those things where the early game can be brutal. Early game can be quite brutal. But yeah, we saw something very similar. It was Wardy TV Monday, like either last week or the week before. It was during the finals between MaxPax and Clem. I think it was last week. Oh. Can be brutal. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2. It's proxy. Yes, yes. You remember? Yes, it was a proxy. It was a proxy game. Yes, on Amphion. But here we go. But we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion. Down in this series, we'll see if he can recover, see if he can bounce back and make a series out of this. It is ByuN for Shopify. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Danish Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Storm Gaming. Leading the series 1-0, it is MaxPax. Here we go. Oh my god, speaking of proxy, ByuN going for the proxy racks right into the natural base of MaxPax. Very committed, very bold move here by ByuN, and we'll see if he goes unscouted. Oh boy, we'll see if MaxPax checks the natural. For now, is going for his probe scout across the map, and he should confirm that the racks is missing. The racks is nowhere to be found, gases are finishing up. And we'll see what ByuN can get done and how many probes he can kill. As a probe does dip into the main. I believe this should just be proxy Reaper out of ByuN. With Reapers in the natural. Into an eBay block, potentially. Yeah, Reaper's on the way. There's the eBay block. Oh! Ooh, does get it just in time, and the probe does confirm. MaxPax, he knows. And can ByuN deny the third? Can he deny it? Not quite. Yeah, a little bit too late there, a little bit too slow. The expansion has been thrown down. ByuN trying to be cheeky. eBay is cancelled. And now we can settle in. We can settle into our game state. Factory has been placed for ByuN. Reaper's on the way. When it comes to the main base so far, MaxPax does wall off. Trying to create some city. And he is going for his initial Stalker. Now, until then, ByuN, he can wreak havoc. Gets into the mineral line. Up! Threatens the probes. And he gets one. One probe goes down. Not bad. Gets one so far. Ideally, he wants a second, and he will get it. Two probes go down. Reaper falls, and ByuN, he races back home. So, good start. So, ByuN, he kills two probes. He also forces the unnatural natural, forces an exposed location, an exposed base, and ByuN is going to Cyclones. Tech Lab is on the way. This should be for Cyclone production. Remember, we now have the old version of the Cyclone here from the side of ByuN, and Cyclones early on can punish this expansion. If you remember, this was, what, a year ago? Back when we had this version of the Cyclone, we would often see Hellion Cyclone commitments and aggression, and it can be a way to try to punish this base. MaxPax gets across the map. Will delay the CC, as the CC is not being built. Ooh, ByuN gets back in. Starport's on the way. I would imagine that ByuN would make additional Cyclones after the first one, but we'll see. Yeah, second Cyclone in production. See in the chat password. Once again, I mean, I'm probably going to say it a couple of times, but tournaments do not play with the bug. Every tournament since the release of the patch is playing with a mod that does fix the bug. So if you're watching a tournament, it should not have the Cyclones in their bug state. Shouldn't have them. Ladder does, you know. So I apologize for those of you that are laddering. There should be like a little graphic on screen. Like what you see here on screen is not indicative of what the ladder looks like. The ladder is very different. But tournaments, they all play with a mod that fixes the Cyclone. Just as a heads up. As it does shade towards a natural. Oh. And we'll get one SCV. One SCV goes down. Marine as well. Good trades here by MaxPax, but the Cyclones, they have been sent across the map. Would you have three Stalkers here at the third? One Stalker in the main, another Warp in. MaxPax, he should be fine. He's got three Stalkers. He can hold his own. And ByuN is forced out. Again, MaxPax, he has three Stalkers per base. He's ready for this. Is ready. Nice blinks. Blink is done. MaxPax, he does not quite get the Cyclone. It's close. Medevac will escape. Just barely. And MaxPax doesn't lose a single unit. The Stalkers, they get low, but MaxPax holds. Does hold. Does survive. Moving out across the map. Back at home, we do see ByuN getting into his own 3-1-1 setup. 3 Raxes, 1 Factory, 1 Starport. More reinforcements have arrived. MaxPax, he's on how many gates? He's on 3. Tank is ready. Does he dive in? He doesn't. Doesn't give it to the dive. Does force to cancel. Cancels the bunker, cancels the depot. MaxPax rotating. Heading towards the main. Nice defense here. Both Cyclones go down. The medevac as well. That was not worth it for ByuN. And MaxPax, he dives into the main, takes down a tank, and ByuN is getting pulled apart. Lost the Cyclones, lost the tank. Boys are being pulled in a moment of desperation. Remember, there's no stim. And the production's under fire. Tank sieges up, but a little bit too far back. And the production forced to lift. Big tank fully goes up. Oh my god. MaxPax, he has to be careful. There's 2 tanks sieged up. 2 tanks are sieged. MaxPax, he rotates. GG gets called. It's just too much to handle, and MaxPax will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Ideally, ByuN with those Cyclones across the map would keep MaxPax busy when it comes to reinforcements, when it comes to the warp-ins, when it comes to some of those Stalkers, but it was cleaned up and MaxPax could focus on warping across the map instead and did pull ByuN apart. Again, ByuN, unfortunately, his production, or I should say his tanks were exposed, no bunker in the main base either, and MaxPax took full advantage of ByuN. GG. GG, well played, MaxPax. He will make it to the grand finals, and the question becomes, who will face off against him in those finals? Once again, though, welcome to the Stego Protoss Cup, as is usually the case here. Non-stop PvPs ahead of us. The final non-Protoss player has been knocked out. ByuN has been removed. There are no Zerg players, of course, so we have 3 Protoss players left. It's going to be herO, Trap, and MaxPax. Let's go. For those that are curious, online tournaments are usually dominated by Protoss. It is offline events where other factors come into play. What I'm referring to here when it comes to offline events or when it comes to online events, some of the bigger Zerg players don't take part. I'm referring to Raynor, Serral, Lambo, and a Laser. They don't play in the top European Zerg players don't play in online events, and the top Zerg players are very inconsistent. For example, this week, no Shin, no Dark, no Solar. They very rarely play in some of these open cups. I mean, they play more regularly in like KSL and Wardy TV Monday, but again, they're a little bit less they're less active. Are a little bit less active, so we usually do get more Protoss representation, more Protoss here in online tournaments. Likewise, when it comes to Terran representation, we have ByuN, of course. We had ByuN, but Clem nowadays very rarely plays in Stego Monday Cups or PiGosaur Monday Cups. Clem often he rarely competes. Usually he's in bed. Usually he's asleep. He's asleep. So we have all the PvPs. Let's go. Speaking of, what game are they in? Let's find out. Let us find out here as we switch our scenes over and have a look at the bracket. From the top, we have herO and Trap, but I'm curious, are they in Game 1, Game 2, or Game 3? Is anyone casting? Someone better be casting them. I'll be honest. Let's see. Pig, I think, was in our series. Yeah, Pig was with us. I should switch regions. Was Dave Testa casting them? I think Steadfast was with us as well. Let's see. Yeah, Steadfast was with us. Mapu. Okay. Am I following Mapu? See if I can find him. Mapu TV, right? Okay, Mapu TV on Twitch. They're in game 2. So herO is leading 1-0 versus Trap. And they're in game 2. And the game might be about to end. Might end. Let's see. herO versus Trap. Gaming. Trap is on Gen G Esports. But yeah, if you want to tune into herO versus Trap, Mapu is covering that series over on his channel. He's covering that PvP, and we will either be jumping into the ace match of herO and Trap, or we will be jumping into the grand finals, which in that scenario would be herO versus MaxPax. So we have two possibilities: either herO versus MaxPax or herO versus Trap. Oh, this Trap is it's not looking good for Trap, Happy. Let me tell. Uh-oh. It's not looking good. But I'll leave a link in the chat. I got you. Well, it's 3 gates of 4. 3. 3. Here we go. So we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break here, and when we come back, it looks like herO and Trap, they just wrapped up. Yeah, it looks like they just finished, and we have our finals confirmed. It is going to be a PvP between herO and MaxPax. We are heading over to the Americas region. Again, we're going to be going on a short break. Vetoes are going to be underway, and when we come back, we'll have that PvP finals. We got you. Do have you there. And it's going to be a best of 5. Going to be a best of 5 PvP finals. See you guys after the break. See you soon. Oh. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the grand finals of PiGosaur Monday number 9. Ooh, it's been quite an intense tournament here tonight, but we have our top 2 players. We have our 2 Protoss players, the best Protosses in the world, MaxPax and herO. They are top 2, number 1 in Europe, number 1 in Korea, as well as a face-off here in a best of 5. Let's go. Game 1 is going to be in ley lines. If you're in the chat, predictions will soon be open, so you can place your bets while you can in the chat. So best of luck with your gamba, best of luck with your predictions as we jump into the first game of the series. Oh boy. Oh boy, and I'm ready. I'm excited. Honestly, I haven't seen enough of MaxPax in the new patch, and I'm excited to see his PvP specifically, and we'll get into why. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Danish Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Storm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss, representing Dragon Kai Z, Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is herO. And if you're in the chats, predictions are now open. It's gamba time. Place your bets while you can on who you think will take the series. Best of luck, as this is a best of 5 PvP, and I'm curious, very curious, how MaxPax has adjusted his PvP. Now, something very important about the new patch is, because of the removal of shield battery overcharge, I am curious if and how that has impacted MaxPax's opener. MaxPax is a very unique opener in PvP. He has the best PvP in the world, or at least he had the best PvP in the world. But during the PTR, we saw MaxPax lose a lot of PvPs. He lost a lot of PvPs in the PTR tournaments, so I'm curious if he has adjusted and if he opens up 2-gate or not. Because I would imagine that 2 base all-ins or 1 base all-ins are stronger against MaxPax than they used to be, considering the removal of overcharge. Okay, gate, cyber, expand. Economic opener here at MaxPax. He is going for his tried and true gate, cyber, expand. I should say gate, cyber, double gas into Stargate into a faster Nexus. Meanwhile, herO doing something very similar. Only 1 gateway, no second gate. herO is mirroring MaxPax. Interesting. We are going for a mirrored build so far, which means this could be the beginning of Phoenix Wars if herO goes for a Stargate. We know that MaxPax should go for the Stargate. If herO does the same, I mean, we might just be locked in. Nexus here for herO. It's going to be Nexus before Tech from the side of herO, MaxPax Tech before Nexus. So this is MaxPax's go-to build, Stargate before Nexus. Which is why I'm curious if herO goes for his own Stargate. I'm very curious. You can see here MaxPax, he's looking for the Stargate. He's trying to figure out what's going on. If it is a Stargate, MaxPax has to make a Phoenix. If not, he can go Oracle. There it is, Stargate. Now, what's important, it is Stargate versus Stargate, and herO should be going into Phoenix Wars, but because the probe just got sniped, MaxPax doesn't know. He doesn't know it's a Stargate, so he could go Oracle instead, and then herO could catch him off guard with Mass Phoenix. We'll see. We'll see what units MaxPax makes first. It's going to be the Oracle. Okay, Oracle opener out of MaxPax is being chronoed as we speak. Adept shades across the map, and herO should be opening Phoenix, but we'll see. As MaxPax, he does shade in, the wall is wide open. Oof, and MaxPax will get a full scout and some damage as well. Yep, MaxPax, he checks, he confirms. Stargate is done. Oracle for herO, that's a little bit shocking to me, but okay. Phoenix is on the way for MaxPax as we speak, which makes sense, and the herO should have been going for a Phoenix himself. I'm a little bit shocked that he isn't. Oracle is revealed, being spent back at home to shut down the initial Stalker. And the Stalker does fall. Nice pick up here by MaxPax. Gets the Stalker, pulls back, gets the NG overcharge. Phoenixes are on the way, but MaxPax will have the Phoenix lead. And I feel like that should have been the way of herO, but okay. We'll see how this all comes together. Adept goes down. We have a couple of defensive Stalkers here for herO. Again, MaxPax will have the slight Phoenix advantage. Oracle getting caught out. MaxPax shoots first. And herO, he has to get the hell out of here. He has to back off. He does have to pull away. Oracle into the main. There is a shield battery. Phoenix on the way as well, going for the stasis. MaxPax a little bit late to react. Oh! Ooh, catching out a good chunk of probes. Very nice stasis here by herO. He recalls back home as well. Very nicely done. That's going to be what? 4, 6, 7. 7 probes caught out. herO is fighting back. Ooh, and herO, he is switching out of Phoenixes into Blink Stalkers. Now, this is a very difficult thing to do. Very difficult to transition out of Phoenix Wars into Mass Blink Stalker instead. So far, MaxPax is up to 4 Phoenixes. He is getting to Immortal production thereafter. MaxPax has not committed. He did not commit into Mass Phoenix, not yet. Trying to get a read on what's going on. MaxPax did see some of the Stalkers, so he knows. He knows it's going to be a ground switch here from herO. One Stalker gets caught, and herO, he's committed. He's moving out everything across the map. But the problem here is that MaxPax is going to have an Immortal. Up! Stays in the main. It's going to finish! Oh my god, it does! No! It finishes in the node! Oh, it crashes everything. Late reaction, late response over here. Another stasis goes off as well. And again, the power of the NG overcharge. Stasis traps everywhere. Stasis defense, stasis attacks, and herO, he's in a rough position. No third, not yet. The Oracle's getting shut down. Yeah, the Oracle will fall. There's no saving it. Back across the map, we have 1, soon to be 2 Immortals. And herO has to retreat. Another stasis! Another stasis goes off. herO can't keep up. And now he expands, now he gets a third base. MaxPax taking an economic lead. Still maintaining map control. herO still has a decently large Stalker army that he can make use of. Blink is almost done, true. herO, he can dive into the main. There we go. What do we go for? Into the main or into the natural? The Immortals are in position. herO cannot touch the natural base, but he can contain. That's what he's doing right now. He's rotating, he's containing. But probes are going down. Oof. Probes and Stalkers. This is getting out of hand. herO, he dives into the main base. Gets 2 Stalkers. Almost a third. But he has to back off. Again, he cannot fight this head on. herO retreats. And MaxPax maintains his economic advantage. But herO's on 3 bases. True. So herO, he can recover from here. He can take a lead. herO, he backs off, he rotates into the main once again. Immortal's ready for this, within range of the shield battery. herO should at least force a cancel. Nicely done. Once again, containing MaxPax and keeping him pinned back at home. But I worry about the counterattack. How many Immortals does MaxPax have? 3. 3 Immortals, soon to be with +1 in charge. Gateways are on the way. In a head-on fight, I do favor MaxPax's army, and herO knows that. herO, he does know. Phoenix is move out once again, getting 2 more probes. 2 more probes go down. Hallucination does get eyes on all the gateways. herO confirms that there is a third, so he knows that there's no all-in. Feeling safe. The game will continue. Oh, okay, the game will progress. Now, because that third base, herO, he does now have a worker advantage over his opponent. He's up in probes. Likewise, herO, he's refining his army, now getting into charge, into Archon production as well. Again, the advantage that MaxPax has is those Immortals. So in a head-on fight, I still do favor MaxPax, but herO, he's recovering. He's getting there. We have the Dark Shrine on the way. I mean, MaxPax is very fond of DTs in PvP. I mean, in general, he's very fond of them in most matchups. And Dark Templar, they can pop off, they can wreak havoc, especially if they go unscattered. herO, he has no observers. The robo is just now on the way, so the observer count's quite limited here for herO. MaxPax pushing through the center. Oh. herO takes a lot of hits. Oh, force MaxPax back. Here comes that War Prism with the DTs. Dark Templar, they're making their way into the main. First observer's on the way for herO, rallied across the map, which means it's not going to be in position, which means these DTs, they can do a lot. PiGosaur Templar, they can pop off. They're headed towards the third. Main armies clash. herO's distracted. We have that first Arc Templar waddling into the natural. Yeah, warping into the third. Probe's going to be falling. That's going to be a lot of damage. Yeah, a lot of workers falling in the blink of an eye. 11 probe kills. We have 1 DT in every single mineral line. 12 probes going down. Some of the DTs, they pull back. And MaxPax is going for the kill. He's going for the 4th. And again, herO out of position. He's completely out of position. 17 probe kills. MaxPax pulls away. Respects the main army. DTs come back in. Getting up. Another probe. DT's on A move. Chasing the stalkers. You know, MaxPax, he pushes in towards the third base. He ignores the 4th for now. Now, in a head-on fight, herO, he can still fight this. He can still engage. It's going to be close. His economy's in shambles. The main fight can go his way. The Archons, they dish out a lot of damage down the backline for MaxPax. No Archons for herO. Zelts are going to be melting. Stalkers pushing in. And MaxPax, he has to retreat. He has to back up. Force the recall. Oh! And he will lose an Archon. herO, he holds. He does hold on. Zelts back into the main, denying mining time, forcing herO back. Zelts at the natural as well. Still a very tense situation. herO, he's up in army supply. More DTs, though. They're just keeping him busy. And this means that it's giving MaxPax more time to build up more Archons and more Immortals. So the longer this goes on, the better it is for MaxPax. As we still have more DT harass. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, Prism finally goes down. Or Prism finally falls. Here, pushing to the center. Headed for the third base. And can MaxPax hold on here again? Here he still has that army supply lead. He's pretty committed. He's pretty all in at this point. herO with a better engage. Archons are stuck behind the army. herO, he's pushing through. Takes down all the Zealots. Now it's mainly Archon Immortal left over. herO, he rotates. Heads for the 4th. Gets up a couple of probes. Doesn't commit. DT's still wreaking havoc across the map. And MaxPax, he's holding. He's holding on. And again, as we mentioned before, the longer this goes on, the worse it is for herO. Force the warp in defensively. herO, he turns back around. Ay, ay, ay. Remember, herO, he's down to 38 probes. He doesn't have an economy. He's on a 2-base economy. He's barely on a 2-base economy here. And MaxPax, he's thriving. Getting into +3, getting into his own blink. More warp-ins, more reinforcements. herO's being outscaled. He can still try to pull this up, though. Zelts, they hit the third base. They get on top of the shield battery. Shield battery is denied. Nice blink here from herO. He does shut down the Phoenixes. It will shut them down. Zelts, they overextend. They have to pull back. They have to respect the Archons. Phoenixes go down. First Archon gets surrounded. There's 3 more Archons left. Then Mortal's getting exposed. So far, MaxPax, yeah, he's holding. He shuts down the Zelts. He's breaking through. MaxPax holds. He shuts down the army, and herO, he has nothing left. He has nothing left behind this. Again, he has no economy. Zelts, they hit the third base once again. herO is down to 30 probes. And the MVP of this game was that Arc Templar. Like, the DT harass was insane. And it just completely took the wind out of herO's sails. Completely. The non-stop DT harass. And that's led to this. It's led to this game state. herO being forced back. DTs, they get 17 probe kills. They're still wreaking havoc. They're still killing more workers. And GG gets called. MaxPax takes game number 1. Whew. GG. MaxPax does take a lead in the series. Again, even though herO was able to maintain himself and keep up in the most part, even having a worker lead or a base lead initially, if you recall, with a faster third and a faster fourth, did not matter as he was pulled apart. The non-stop Dark Templar harass in the main, in the natural, in the third base as well, in every single base, all at once was too much, and it just crippled herO. It meant that herO, he had no longevity in the game, could not keep up with the production of MaxPax, or the economy of MaxPax, and with that, GG. GG, well played. MaxPax takes the lead, and now we're jumping into game number 2. Let's go. Jumping into game 2. And again, I'm still unsatisfied. I'm still curious how MaxPax can deal with these one base all-ins if he were to go for a standard opener, but we're not going to find out because game 2 is going to be on Ultra Love. Ultra Love, a very defensive map. Ultra Love, of course, has a unique feature, ramp coming into the natural, which means gate expands are very common on Ultra Love, which means Phoenix Wars are also very common on Ultra Love as well. Now, we saw an attempted Phoenix War in the last game where both players went Stargate. Some Phoenixes were made, but here he hard switched into Blink Stalkers. Here, I'm curious if he does the same, or if this time he commits and we get Phoenix versus Phoenix, as that is a more common outcome on this map. We'll see. We shall see. 5 a.m. Shema, papi, shema. Watching StarCraft at 5 a.m. Yo, if you're in Europa, if you're in Europe, if you're watching StarCraft at 5 a.m., 1, the passion is real, but 2, get some sleep, papi, get some sleep. Oh my god. Take care of yourselves. Take care. Haha. Ay, ay, ay. But here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the Danish Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Sidestorm Gaming, leading the series 1-0. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, currently down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. For Weibo Gaming, it is herO. We go. As we do have both players going for their own gate expands at the natural. As we mentioned, Ultra Love has a ramp coming into the natural, and this typically signifies that it is legal, if not expected, for Protoss players in PvPs to go for these more low ground expands and these economic openers. So gate into expand here is very likely. MaxPax's standard opener is gate into Cybercore, into Stargate, then into expansion. So we'll see how early, how quickly either player expands. As you can cut corners. You can attempt to cut corners here. Single gas from MaxPax, that means that he wants to go for a faster Nexus. Double gas from herO means faster tech. MaxPax is in position, he delays expansion, and he does take the faster Nexus. There we go, MaxPax, he will have the economic lead. herO, he did not move out with the probe. That's a little bit odd. Okay. I would imagine for good reason, but because herO didn't probe scouts, he can't do what MaxPax is doing, which is delaying the expansion with the probe, and even pylon blocking. So, yeah, really odd choice by herO not to go for it. It's possible that the reason for this is that herO wanted a greedy build at a MaxPax, and then herO turns this into a one-base all-in. It's possible. Like, that would make sense. First Zealot moves out across the map. herO does have the minerals though, and he will expand. Okay. So a later oh. Hello, herO. What's going on? The probe comes back in. herO, he has the money for an expansion. And is he waiting for the probe to leave? Throws down a pylon. Yep, one base all in. Let's go. So that makes sense. As we theorized before, the reason why herO did not go for a probe scout is because he wanted MaxPax to be greedy, and he's turning this into an all-in. So this does make sense here for herO. It's all coming together. Second gateway gets thrown down. Third gateway, so it's going to be 3 gates, Robo, 1 base all-in. All or nothing for herO. Now, there's a bit of a give and take here. On the one hand, yes, MaxPax did go for one of the greediest builds you can go for, so that can work well for herO. On the other hand, this is delayed. Remember, herO, he didn't start throwing down his robo and his setup until the probe died, until the probe went down in the main. That was a very late kind of decision to go for the 1 base, or really late production for herO. Later than it should be. And MaxPax, he confirms. He scouts, he sees the robo, he sees the gateway, Void Ray back at home. Like, this is a really weird 1 base all, really weird timed 1 base all in is what I should say. Twilight Council? Are we going into an upgrade? I mean, this is gonna be quite delayed here for herO. It almost, you know what this feels like? It feels like hero's freestyling. Like, yes, it's a 1 base all in, but it's a delayed 1 base all in, and now we're going for tech, which means the upgrade's gonna make this even later, and the Void Ray has arrived, shuts down the Stalkers. Like, I'm not fully convinced as to what's going on. Are we going DT? Like, this has to be Blink, right? Prism's on the way. Show us the upgrade. I was waiting for a little bit of extra gas. And we have the resources for it. Yeah, DTs. So it's going to be 1 base all in. Initially 3 Stalkers into Dark Templar. Now, we're gambling very hard. It's not going to pay off. So the gamble that herO was going for is that MaxPax would not have a robo. As we can see, I mean, which is standard, by the way, MaxPax to defend against all-ins, it's Void Ray into Immortal. Robo's on the way, which means we have access to an Observer. And Oracle, of course, as well. So, I appreciate the initiative here out of herO, but I'm at least not convinced. We'll see, though. We'll see. Ooh, as MaxPax does overextend. That's actually a bit of a slip up here. So what just happened? MaxPax, you just activated every single prismatic alignment. Ideally, you want to stagger them. Ideally, you want to hold off and you want to stagger your prismatic alignments. He activated all 3. That is better for herO. So herO, he can threaten the natural, rotating over towards the main. Void Ray's trying to keep up. Prismatic alignment's still on cooldown. Oh, as herO rotates. But Prismatic Alignment, it's about to be available once again in a couple of seconds. So far, so good. MaxPax is holding. Observer has arrived. I believe there's 1 Dark Templar. They're going into the main. DT's into the main base. And probes are going down, but there's the detection. He gets 1 DT, he's going to get the other as well. And there's no escaping with the War Prism. At the same time, herO pushes in towards the natural. He's trying to pull MaxPax apart. Trying to, but won't be able to. Prism goes down, GG gets called, and MaxPax, he will take the 2-0 lead. GG. GG, well played. Interesting build there out of herO. Again, I stand by what I said before. It did feel like herO was freestyling a little bit. It was not the most efficient execution of a 1 base all in. It was very chaotic. It was delayed because of the probe scouts. I remember he was waiting for the probe to leave or the probe to die before throwing down his tech. On top of that, went into a delayed DT follow-up as well, which again was just a big gamble. Big gamble from herO, hoping that MaxPax would not have detection. But it is very common in that kind of situation to go Void Ray into Immortal defense, like Stargate into Robo. So MaxPax, he had detection. GG. GG, well played. We're now getting into game number 3. Let's go. Here we go. Getting into game 3 here, and game 3 is going to be on Frostline. How can anyone sleep when there are 2 Tusk gods fighting? True, true. Get some sleep, Python. I might have a nap after this. So, as always, we have 2 casts today. We have the PiGosaur Monday this morning, and we have a Lima League tonight. So it's probably wise for me to nap in between, but I'll probably try and get a little bit of work done first, and then I'll have a nap, and then a Lima League. But yeah, so Lima League is in like 6 hours, I think. We'll have to double check that. But here we go, we're getting into game 3, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frostline, we have the Danish Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. Then one more game is all he needs. Una más, papi, una más, to claim the series. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is herO. He's up against the wall, one more loss, and that will be the end of the tournament, of the finals. We'll see if he can bounce back as we are settling in, and this is finally the game that I wanted. We are loading into a map where there is no ramp coming into the natural, which means MaxPax is going to be more vulnerable in the early game, and I'm curious if herO can pull off a one-base all-in. That is what I'm looking forward to here, is actually a one-base all-in on Frostline, but we'll see. We'll see. As MaxPax moves out with his probe scouts. Meanwhile, herO has no probe on the map. The second pylon gets placed. Looks like a standard opener from herO. Gate Cyber? herO, once again, he's going for a gate into Cybercore into Stargate. Is herO a believer? So for those that are curious, this is the same build that herO went for in game 1. And it's the same build that MaxPax is. I mean, this is the MaxPax build. It's the MaxPax opener in PvP, and herO's doing it again. Now in game 1, it was kind of awkward if you remember. herO did take an economic lead, but he went like for an Oracle first, which got shut down into Phoenixes. Then he went into a hard switch into Blink Stalkers. It was again very chaotic from herO, and we could be seeing that again. We could be seeing once again like a Stargate opener into Oracle into Blink from the side of herO. There's a Stargate, as we did mention. Stargate versus Stargate. In a standard PvP, this should mean Phoenix Wars. This should be Phoenix Wars between MaxPax and herO, but I don't think herO enjoys it, based on what happened in Game 1. So I'm less convinced. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on herO. We'll see if he opens Phoenix or not. He should open Phoenix, but it's herO, so I don't know if I can like say that with confidence. Just because herO is chaotic. But it should be a Phoenix. And this should be Phoenix Wars. As we see herO moving out with his first Zealot and Adept, we'll catch out at MaxPax for a moment. Nice hold damage here on the Adept. Phoenix production has begun from MaxPax, which makes sense. Again, Phoenix opener makes plenty of sense here for MaxPax. And herO, what does he go for? He's supply blocked, he's going Phoenixes. He's still... No, where's the pylon? Where's the pylon? Where's the pylon? Oh, no, is that game? No shot. This is a brutal supply block. This supply block should not have happened. Oh god, that was, yeah, I mean, he now breaks out, thankfully. The pylon just now finishing. But if this was to be Phoenix Wars, it does mean that herO is going to be behind in Phoenixes. Again, now he's going second Stargate to catch up. Makes sense. Does make sense. herO is going to try to catch up. But that was a wasted chrono as well. Like that. MaxPax has got 3 Phoenixes to the 2 of herO. So MaxPax, he doesn't know that he has that that greater advantage, but he can flex it. Heads toward the natural. Oh, he can bully herO back. He gets a probe. herO does have the defender's advantage, so he does reinforce that much faster. Adept's on the way. 4th Phoenix has arrived. 5 versus 3. Shield battery will help maintain himself there. herO he holds. He's holding on. Oh! Gets a Phoenix. Nice pickup. Takes down a Phoenix, and herO, he is catching up. Not just catching up, now with the second Stargate, takes a lead. herO takes a lead. MaxPax's own second Stargate is late. Late second Stargate. herO has momentum. He catches up. Ooh, does almost catch up MaxPax. Close. Checking the Phoenix count. We're even, 6 and 6. But herO is slightly ahead now. They go up to 7 Phoenixes. Up to 8 Phoenixes. And you can see the 7th and 8th Phoenix is still in production for MaxPax, but herO, he doesn't commit, he pulls back. And now we can embrace Phoenix Wars. Okay. Whew. We had a shaky start, but now we can embrace the Phoenix Wars. So far, both players are keeping up with each other. We should be expanding, taking a third base, and we'll see where we go from here. Now, there are certain power spikes in Phoenix Wars. The big one here is going to be Phoenix Range. We'll see who goes into a Fleet Beacon first and into Phoenix Range. Likewise, once we go into a Fleet Beacon, then you have another timing with the Mothership. So we'll see how we get there. For now, both players are being very tentative. They're building up back at home. There's a Fleet Beacon. Faster Fleet Beacon from MaxPax, he will have faster range as a result. So Phoenix Range is on the way. Meanwhile, MaxPax, he does pylon block the southern expansion, but we can still expand towards the north. Likewise, here we're doing the same with the pylon blocks. So Hero does move out. Hero still has a 2 Phoenix advantage. Again, because of the faster second Stargate, Hero, he's perpetually ahead in Phoenixes, for now at least. He also sniped a Phoenix earlier, if you remember. I mean, that's why Phoenix Wars can be so unforgiving. One wrong move, one mistake, and that can cost you the game. And MaxPax did lose one Phoenix early on, and that may just be game. But again, MaxPax is going for faster range. Hero dips in, gets a probe, gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. Ooh. He's gonna trade, but Hero, he does come out on top. Yeah, Hero, he can just dive in. He can just dive in at this point. Range will not matter. He can get the production, and with that, Hero, he will overwhelm. And Hero, he fights back in the series. He shuts down every single Phoenix. Phoenix is chased down, and MaxPax can never recover. He can never recover from this. It's not gonna happen. Hero even gas stealing, taking the gases. Catching up MaxPax. And again, MaxPax should not be able to make it up from this point forward. He's got 2 Phoenixes to 10. Ooh. Trading 1-to-1. Losing another Phoenix. GG. And Hero fights back. Whew. Very intense. Very intense game state there. GG, well played. Again, because Hero had the faster second Stargate, and because MaxPax lost 1 Phoenix at the start of the game, that just meant that Hero, he was just perpetually ahead in Phoenixes. He just had maintained that Phoenix lead. Also important that Hero did fight before Range, right? Range did finish towards the end, but that was after the fight concluded. So really important that Hero, he was able to engage ahead of time with that. GG. GG, well played. The series will continue. Oh my god. Series will continue here. It'd be wise, but light does not bear jar. No, I'll try to sleep after this. I'll probably get some food. I'll work on some VODs, work on some thumbnails, and I'll try to force myself to sleep. For those that are curious, in 7 hours, or in 6 hours and 45 minutes from this message, we're going to be live once again with Olima League. Week number 232. Week number 232. But that won't be on Twitch. As a PSA, Olima League is not streamed on Twitch. It is streamed on Chijik, which is a Korean streaming platform. So we don't stream here. I know that Wardy does like replay casts on Twitch. I know he does that like the next day. But we live cast on Chijik instead. We have it live. As we're now getting into Game 4. Getting into Game 4 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of King's Cove, we have the Danish Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Sidestorm Gaming, leading the series, still 1 game away from becoming this week's PiGosaur Monday champion. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Weibo Gaming. Down in the series, but he fights back. He puts a point on the board. It is a HerO. Here we go. have our PvP. And I'm curious because, again, even though I expect to see something more aggressive out of herO and I expect to see 2 gate openers, he hasn't really gone for it yet. In game 1 and previously in game 3 as well, herO, he went for a gate into Cybercore, and he's doing it again. He has seen the light. Gates finishing up, Cybercore is going to be on the way. Mirrored builds. MaxPax is going for the low ground setup, herO on the high ground, but mirrored builds nonetheless. As herO scouts, Nexus have been placed. Greedy build here by MaxPax. He went for a single gas geyser, so very greedy here by MaxPax. Faster expansion. herO, second gas. What does that mean? Faster Stargate. So herO is going to open Stargate into a later expansion. MaxPax expansion into later Stargate. So slightly different builds here between our players. And this means that herO should be the aggressor, as herO will have faster tech and, again, the faster Stargate. Now, because herO knows that his Stargate is going to be faster, herO can go Oracle first instead of Phoenix. He can go Oracle first, go across the map, and try to get some economic damage. I'm curious what unit he makes first. Now, if herO can confirm that MaxPax also opens Stargate, and it should be a Stargate open out of MaxPax, then herO could try to catch, like, could try to just get ahead. There's a Stargate. herO could try to get ahead, and I would love to see a Phoenix first instead. If herO opens Phoenix, he will maintain a Phoenix lead. And if this goes into Phoenix Wars, that could just be game then and there. That could just be game with that one Phoenix advantage. Zell confirms. herO, he does spot the Stargate, he knows. And now herO has to make a choice. Does he risk going Oracle first to harass across the map, or does he open Phoenix? Zell does threaten the main. He's going the Oracle opener. Okay. Going Oracle first. So herO, he's going to forego any kind of Phoenix advantage. He's going for the Oracle to harass. This also tells us that it's highly likely that herO is going to go not into Phoenix Wars after this, but into Twilight Council with the Blink. There it is. We saw this in game 1. So if you were here for game 1, you would know that herO did the same thing. He went Oracle into Twilight Council into Blink. And it's quite risky. Right? Risky to do this. We saw it did not pan out well for herO in game 1. But herO, if he wanted to, he could have embraced Phoenix Wars, but here he is avoiding it. As the Oracle does zip in. Phoenix is in position, Oracle gets denied, no surprise there. And this is why going Oracle first was really, really, really risky for herO, and we can see that it just didn't pay off. Does recall, does keep it alive. Blink is on the way for herO. herO moving out. Second, oh my god, MaxPax, I'm misreading this. Second Stargate's on the way. MaxPax is going Mass Phoenix. He believes that he's in the middle of a Phoenix War, but it is not. So Mass Phoenix here by MaxPax. What he should be doing is getting a Robo. We should be seeing a Robo into Immortal production if MaxPax knew that what was happening, but he doesn't know. He's in the dark. Oracle towards the natural, does get in. Probes are going down. MaxPax, he responds. And so far, this Oracle is doing an amazing job at just buying time and keeping MaxPax busy. Because MaxPax, he hasn't seen anything. Stays into the main. No major connection. Oracle goes down. Revelation here on the on the Phoenixes and on the second Stargate. Big scout here for herO, and herO, I'm sure he feels good about this. Because again, no Robo, no Immortals. So Mass Stalker can pop off, and herO, he might just snowball out of control with this. As MaxPax does feel like he has misread this. Stalkers are revealed. Now he knows. Now MaxPax knows. Adept will shade in towards the natural. herO out of position. And you can see, as soon as MaxPax saw the Stalkers, Robo. But again, this Robo was late. So late Robo, late Immortals. But they're coming. MaxPax just needs time. He needs time for Immortal production. And he needs Void Rays as well. But for now, he's stuck with Mass Phoenix. Proxy Gate across the map. herO, he confirms there is no third. Adept gets cleaned up. He's moving out across the map as well. He's reinforcing. And you can see MaxPax throwing down extra shield batteries. We'll see if he can somehow survive this. I'll be impressed if he can. Be very impressed. River's almost done. First Immortal's going to be on the way. More Phoenix is building up. herO reinforcing. Blink is done. More reinforcements on the way. It's going to be how many Stalkers? 12. 12 Stalkers for herO. So far, kiting against the army. First Immortal's on the way. Remember, as the Immortal count gets higher, it's going to be easier and easier for MaxPax to hold. So herO's on the timer. Gateway goes down. Shield battery under fire. First Immortal will pop. herO threatens to dive. Blink's on cooldown. Immortal has arrived. Mass pickup here on the Stalkers. Immortal doing a lot of damage here in the back line. And so far, MaxPax, he is holding on. He forces this back. The Phoenixes, they lift well. The Immortal does so much damage on the back line. Oof. And that was how many Stalkers? 10. Jesus. 10 Stalkers go down. The power of the Immortal. And now we have 2. 2 Immortals. MaxPax holds. But the Phoenixes move out. Oh. We go for the dive. Immortal gets surrounded. One Immortal will fall. He gets one, but not the other. MaxPax out of position. He races back home. That was best case scenario for herO. But it's still not enough. Yeah, MaxPax, he can chase this down. He will completely shut down the all-in. Gets 1, gets 2, gets 3 Stalkers. Gets 4, 5, just every single one. And again, that one Immortal on the ground. Carrying. And herO, he's run out of steam. He's run out of steam at this point. He will be expanding, getting his 3rd base. Again, everything was looking good for herO when it comes to MaxPax's opener, when it comes to his build, going into Mass Phoenix. But as we saw, herO was on a timer, and he missed it. He missed his window. Missed his timing. Once the first Immortal arrived, it did feel like it would be insurmountable. And yeah, that's how it turned out in the end. The power of the Immortals. And of course the Phoenix support, don't get me wrong. It wasn't just the Immortal on its own, but the Phoenixes, they were able to hold their own as well. With all those big ups. Proxy gets shut down, 3rd base on the way. And soon MaxPax can start to threaten the bases. Start to threaten these bases, threaten the economy. He's moving out across the map. Committed into more Phoenixes. And MaxPax, he will keep the Immortals back at home. So he's slowly building up a higher and higher Immortal count. He's up to 3, soon to be 4 Immortals. Phoenixes, they confirm the 3rd. They head towards the main. herO down in economy, down in workers. And he is aware of the Phoenixes. He's trying to get in position. He's trying. MaxPax reinforcing. Hello, Pylon. Or hello, Probe. As we should be seeing a reinforcing Pylon. Or not. Never mind. Okay, I just assumed we were going to be seeing a Pylon and a Gateway, but the Probe goes down. Does tank some shots, I guess. There's the first blink. But again, that's 4 Immortals for MaxPax. He's snowballing out of control. Dives on the Stalkers. The Immortals just shut down the Archon. And everything else as well. Again, it was a good effort by herO. And hey, he did make a series out of this, but there's nothing left. The boys, they kill 1 Immortal. 1 Immortal went down, but there's still 3 left over. And MaxPax, he's done it. GG gets called. MaxPax, he will take the series 3-1, becoming this week's PiGosaur Monday number 9 champion. GG. GG, well played. MaxPax does take it. Shout out to herO, as again, he was able to fight back in that last game, able to make a series out of this on, I was going to say Frostline, my apologies. It was the other map. Hold on. Yeah, on Frostline. Yeah. He was able to fight back on Frostline, but here on King's Cove, we saw that herO did try to catch MaxPax with his pants down. It was a really nice build overall from herO. Like the idea of trying to lure MaxPax into believing it was Phoenix Wars and then catching him out with Blink Stalkers. Like theoretically, it was sound, but we saw when it came to the execution, he did hit a little bit too late. By the time he hit, the first Immortal had arrived. There were 2 shield batteries on the low ground, and with that 1 Immortal, I mean, MaxPax, he held very nicely. He was able to, of course, support it with the Mass Phoenixes, and GG. GG, well played. If you remember, herO, he lost 10 Stalkers in that first assault, and it wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it in the end. That first push was the strongest one for herO, and after it failed, it was over then and there. Was over. GG, well played. MaxPax will be our champion this week, and herO will come in second place instead. Regardless, hope you all enjoyed yourselves here this morning. Hope you all had a great time, and again, we're going to be back next week with the next PiGosaur Monday, of course. It is a weekly tournament every single, I guess, Monday, depending on where you are. For me, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday afternoon here in Australia, but, you know, Monday in other parts of the world. Regardless, the event is weekly, and we are going to be back later on in 6.5 hours with Elite League. Elite League number 332. Yeah, 232 is going to be in 6.5 hours. If you're curious, what is Elite League? Elite League is the OG. It's a very old school tournament. Did recently come back. It was recently revamped and revitalized by a lovely sponsor, a Korean streaming platform. So CranKy and ourselves, we cast when we stream over on Jijik. Let me just quickly link it in the chat. There we go. So you can follow us there if you wish. What I will say though, depending on where you are in the world, it can be quite difficult to watch on the platform just because they only have Korean servers and Korean routing. So watching from Europe or watching from the Americas can be quite difficult without a VPN. So if you don't use a VPN, then the stream will most likely buffer and lag for you. But if you're in Asia or if you're in Oceania, like we are here, then you should be able to watch it without too much issue. Just as a heads up. It's not the most ideal streaming platform, I do know, but we are going to be live there regardless with Elite League, and VODs will be available on YouTube in a couple of days. So if you can't watch live, if you want the VODs, they'll be available within the next 3 or 4 days on YouTube for Elite League. So we got you covered there if you wish. Otherwise, our next stream here on this channel is going to be tomorrow in less than 24 hours. We're going to be live with Code for Giants Cup. If you're curious, what is Code for Giants Cup? That is a bi-weekly Brazilian tournament. Every 2 weeks, we have some Brazilian action here on the CranKy Ducklings, so we got you covered there. If you're curious, players like Yan, players like Master, Eric, Inexorable, and many others are featured in Code for Giants Cup on a bi-weekly basis. And also tomorrow is Sparkling Tuna Cup. If you're curious, you're like, hold up, isn't Sparkling Tuna Cup usually over the weekend? Isn't it usually on Sundays? It is. But this week, this week for the next 2 months, it is being moved to Wednesdays. So it's going to be on Wednesday instead. The reason for this change is because of Masters Coliseum. Masters Coliseum is starting this weekend. It is a 3-day event every single weekend for the next 2 months. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, every single week for the next 2 months is full of Masters Coliseum. Qualifiers into group stage, into playoffs. Masters Coliseum is a big online event. The best of the best players in the world are going to be there. Players like serO, Rainer, Maru, Dark, Solar, Shin, MaxPax, and many others are all going to be taking part and competing in Masters Coliseum. So that is kind of the biggest event of the year, of the patch, I should say. Home Story Cup was a good offline event, but Home Story Cup was also missing a lot of Koreans. It was missing a lot of Korean players and also missing MaxPax. Because Master Coliseum is an online tournament, MaxPax will be there as well. He'll be competing in that. I mean, again, these are the big events that MaxPax usually does prepare for, just because these are the biggest events that he can play in, because he's not going to LAN events, right? So tournaments like Masters Coliseum, these other big online tournaments are what he does prepare and where he does bring his best. So it's going to be a big couple of months here for MaxPax and for all the other players and competitors as well, as always, for Masters Coliseum. So do check that out over the weekend. Otherwise, we have plenty more on the channel. We have Tenacious Total Tussle, we have the Pondcast, we have Cheeseadelphia, I forgot. Cheeseadelphia is also over the weekend. It's going to be a busy weekend. Oh my god. Very, like over the weekend we have like 6 casts in 2 days. Jesus. Ugh. So hey, let's go. So Cheeseadelphia is also this weekend. If you're curious, what is Cheeseadelphia? It is a big offline event in the Americas. So if you're curious, if you want to see the best in the Americas face off against each other, Cheeseadelphia is the place to be, and that is going to be on the 7th of December. It is going to be the 7th. It's going to be Sunday morning for me, but I believe Saturday afternoon for other areas in the world. Oh boy, so it's a lot of StarCraft, a lot of a lot of StarCraft, a lot of StarCraft. So I'll do my best to stay sane throughout the weekend. It's going to be an intense couple of days, but again, We're going to be live in 6 hours with our next tournament, so I'm going to go and get some food. I'm going to try and get some work done. I'm going to try and nap for a couple of hours, like 3 or 4 hour nap at most, and then jump into a Lima League. That's the plan, Pat. That is the plan. Otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you wish, you can support us. You can follow us on all the social medias. !socials in the chat. There we go. And you will get a link to our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. You can follow us on all the social medias. If you wish, we post whenever we go live. Likewise, VODs are available on YouTube on a daily basis, so plenty of VODs on YouTube. If you can't watch live because we're live so often, then YouTube is the place to be to catch up on those VODs. Otherwise, thanks for watching. See you in a few hours. See you then. See you then. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. We'll see you guys later tonight. Until then, hasta luego. Stick around. We're gonna be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Who is live? Who is live at the moment? Let's see. I see Pacheca and Gnocchi. They're all playing Helldivers. I see Practice X is online. Who else? Jaime Jim is online. He's playing League. We'll find someone. We'll find someone to send our love over to. So yeah, with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys either later tonight or tomorrow. See you then. Thanks for watching. Hasta luego. Ciao. Papi, ciao. Hasta luego.